Welcome back once again to another episode of Enter the Nerdom. I'm here with
Stan Morancini,
Watson Bradshaw,
and I'm obviously Chad Cook, formerly Pockets, as we know. I hope you guys, from the numbers, you guys haven't been listening to the last episode of our. So I'm gonna need you to punch those up. I'm gonna need to just have it play on
Pockets
the background.
need some love.
Yeah, give Pockets some love.
Give me some love, guys. Come on, please.
So we just we all watched Flash.
Oh yes.
Just recently.
Yep.
It's not doing very well in theaters right now.
No,
I think it was like a $250 budget, $250 million, something, and it's only
That's what they
like
said.
Yeah, well, that's for the budget itself.
Was it a positive opening weekend though? Like it hit the
Not
really.
No,
It did less than Black Adam.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
It's pretty bad.
Which
man.
was where the low bar was set.
right.
And I will say,
was it set at Black Adam? I thought it was set at Shazam.
Yeah, Shazam made, but they knew Shazam was going to make
That's true.
less. You know, they knew that Shazam wasn't going to be like they expected huge from Black Adam because of The Rock.
Yeah.
And then they expected huge from this because you got Keaton, you got
See, I think Flash would have done better if it came out before Black Adam and Shazam.
Yeah,
because after those
it was
two,
supposed to. It was supposed to come out.
Yeah.
2 years before all.
I mean,
this.
yeah, way before that stuff. But I mean, altogether, I thought it is a better movie than Black Adam. Like
much more.
Yeah,
It's a better movie than Shazam.
Yeah.
And Black Adam. It's probably a better movie than some of the last Marvel movies that have been released.
True.
Mm-hmm. But I think it's partially superhero fatigue that's setting in, and then people have issues with Ezra Miller.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Yeah. That's. I mean, like last episode that we did this little setup, like I tried to give a non-spoiler review kind of thing, and I don't think it's a bad movie.
Not me neither.
I think it was badly executed.
Yes.
Right. And it's yet again, Warner Bros. Has this thing of they're like feel like they're crunched for time with all their characters.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so it's not like, so they did Man of Steel, and it was like, instead of doing like a Man of Steel 2, they were like, we're going to throw Death of Superman, Dark Knight Returns into one movie.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then with this, it's like, we're going to do a Flash origin movie and the Flashpoint Paradox story.
Yeah.
And try and jam it all into this one thing. Same with Black Adam. They try to do like a Black Adam origin and introduce JSA.
Yeah.
And it's like, why are you rushing these things?
I agree with that, and I think like there should have been a Flash movie like probably right after Aquaman, probably right, and then like he has his own movie being did he even live in Central City or was that not?
No, he did.
Yeah,
He did?
it was
Okay.
established in Justice
Okay,
League. Yeah.
all right. Well, like him being a hero there, maybe going up. I don't know because they have I forget the actor who played Boomerang Man for the Suicide Squad.
Oh, Jai Courtney.
Jai Courtney. You could have used him in the first Flash movie.
Right.
And then that could have set up Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
Or that clip of Suicide Squad where he gets caught.
No, yeah, definitely.
That could have been like, you show that in Suicide Squad, then you expand on that in the Flash movie.
Exactly.
Because the Flash does have like some of the best villains. Like his rogues gallery
Yeah, they're fun.
are great. And they've and a lot of that is Mark Waid, who wrote Flash in the 90s, really expanded on like what it means to be a rogue
Yeah.
in that world, in that city. And like they all meet at a bar and they have a agreement with Flash where it's like, hey, we're going to do crimes, but we won't kill people.
Yeah.
Like there's this mutual respect thing, and which they do really well on the show. I think the Flash TV show,
the
the
90s?
CW show.
Oh, the CW one, yeah.
Gotta give that credit because they do a lot of groundwork. I feel like their Flashpoint episodes that they did in like season 3 are better than this movie.
Yeah.
Just the way they handled that whole aspect of it. I mean, like, there's stuff in this movie I really loved. Like, and we're gonna spoil stuff.
Yeah.
Just let you know. But like, Ezra Miller's and the mom's relationship, I thought was done really well.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Like the emotion there.
Yeah.
Because if you don't buy that he would destroy a universe to save his mom, that movie does not work.
Right.
True.
And the scenes that he has thinking about his mom, reliving it, that was done really well.
Yeah.
Well, and the the stakes for him in this movie were much more than some of the stuff that Marvel's released recently.
Yeah.
Like at the end, I mean, we're just going to go, he has to save he tries to save his mother, but in the end ends up destroying most of the universe because of that. So he knows that he can't save her. This is one of the, like in Spider-Man, it's one of the canon
And
events.
I do love there's a scene where he's the young, like, child version of Barry's working on a math problem.
Right.
And he's trying so hard to come up with the answer. And the mom says it in one line of just like, sometimes there is no answer. Sometimes you just got to let go.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And it's so good. It's just a simple line, but it like sets up the whole movie and the journey that his character has to go through of just like learning how to let go.
Well, that's one of the reasons I like this movie, because it took its time to set up the relationship between him and his mother, which is something that we're not really seeing in a lot of superhero movies lately.
Right.
There's no setup. So when something happens to a character, sometimes we're like, so what? Why should I care?
Yeah.
I don't know what this character is. You're telling me this character is important.
Yeah.
You're telling me that this character is something. I didn't see it. You're just telling me that.
Yeah.
But this takes its time and it shows that. And then at the end, when he has to sacrifice his mother in order to return things back to normal, you're like, you actually, it takes the time to show Barry's emotion and it shows his face and how destructive this is to him as a person. And it's actually a touching moment. I was like, wow, this is, because you can feel how hard it is for him to know that he has to sacrifice his mother in order to save the world, basically, the universe, basically, the universes, basically.
Yeah.
And it carried a lot of weight and it carried consequences, which is, again, not something we're seeing from a lot of superhero movies lately. There's no consequences.
It's funny because a lot of the Marvel movies, the event or whatever they're trying to prevent is something they themselves kind of let happen or created.
Right.
And it never really feels like, oh, well, this wouldn't have happened if... But it was less personal than it was for the Flash character here. So I was like, I really didn't believe a lot of those ones in Marvel where they didn't set it up, with enough or ground it enough where I was like, okay, I'm believing Iron Man is building these Ultron robots to protect the world. It's like, it didn't really sit there with me. I was like, it's
because
so
it kind of just said it. Oh, by the way, we built all these robots.
Yeah,
I mean, I was saying, you're just telling us. Like, okay.
Yeah, he was working on all that stuff, and then he was like, all right, yeah, let's... But they sped it up so quick that you didn't get to sit with
that's the thing is
his anxiety and stuff. So
there's supposedly like stuff happens in between movies that we're not privy to.
Yeah.
Which drives me crazy because I'm like, well, we didn't see any of that development, of him as a character. Like in Iron Man 3, he's got, PTSD.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you only get a taste of that. And then he gets over that real quick.
Well, they just tell you, oh, by the way, he's got PTSD.
Right.
And you're like, where did that come from?
Yeah.
Okay.
And the alcoholism they breezed over in
right,
too.
Exactly.
I was like, oh, man, well, that would have been a cool dynamic to explore with him, but...
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Is like comics, you get, an issue a month, and you can really delve deep into a lot of this stuff.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. They're taking these year-long story arcs. Like I had my wife just talked about this today, Thor: Love and Thunder, where you're taking two really good story arcs. You're taking the Gore the God Butcher story, and you're taking the Lady Thor story with Jane Foster and cancer, and like these are serious, heavy, multiple months, multiple year storylines.
Yeah.
And trying to jam them together and wrap it all up in 2 hours.
Right.
And also, hey, Taika Waititi, make it funny. It's like, cancer's not funny.
Yeah.
Gore losing his kid and like going to kill the gods is not funny, and it doesn't have to be. Like, doesn't mean you have to play it, dark and broody, but give it some weight. Give those stories some weight, and those could have been individual movies.
True. But let's throw in some bleeding goat throughout the entire movie.
Right, exactly.
Like,
and I was just like, and I get it. Like Ragnarok, I think hit that really sweet spot of like it had the humor, it had the World War Hulk thing, and I feel like they probably, I feel like this might have been a little bit of, like you said, like superhero fatigue, and also I think it's the studio kind of going like, well, that worked, we got to do that again.
Yeah.
And this story, I feel like the script for, I know it's a totally different movie, we're talking about Thor, but I feel like that last script probably was a heavier script, and then they were like, we need to inject the funny into it.
Yes.
Which they didn't need to do.
Well, no,
and
because
same with this, with Flashpoint. Boy, did they make young Barry, Barry 2 that shows up in the movie, just an imbecile.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, you know, the turn, I don't think is like his turn at the end,
Yeah.
where he's, you know, I must save everyone, is not deserved.
Yeah.
Like his heel turn doesn't work because he's just been a joke through the first half of that movie.
Right.
Yeah.
And then when it's like suddenly he's supposed to be the big bad, like what? It doesn't make sense. Like you make him a prick. Like don't make him an idiot, but you could have made him a prick because he had his parents. Like he's entitled. You could make him like an entitled asshole.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then our Barry, you know, Universe 1 Barry's trying to be like, no, like you're going to be a hero. And this guy's clearly not a hero.
Well, there was a moment of that when, you know, he's using the monkey that the mother gave him as a dart on the dartboard, right? And so our Barry was like, that's very disrespectful.
Right.
But of course,
he doesn't have that connection.
Yeah,
to
he doesn't
it.
have the connection to it because his mother. And he says, "What do you sound like my mom?" And that's when he's like, "Shut up, Barry, shut up."
Yeah.
You don't like that was the only moment that I thought was like heavy between them two.
I know.
Yeah.
The rest of it was just kind of like joke.
Yeah,
And
like
it's just all right.
he's got the spear. He saw all over his face. Like,
Yeah.
I know this was the cousins meeting. I'm like, Jesus
Yeah.
Christ. Like,
I mean, I thought the R. Barry was still even too goofy before we meet that second one. So I was like, they're too. I mean, I would say he's less goofy and more awkward, but that creates the goofiness of his character.
Yeah.
And I'm not used to that type of Flash. Like,
Yeah.
I grew up on the Wally West from Justice League cartoon and everything, and he's cocky and he knows what he's doing, and
right,
you know,
which I've been watching already.
yeah.
oh man,
It's like
we'll get into that.
Yeah, I mean, talk about time to sit with the characters, starting from Batman the Animated Series to the Superman to Justice League, and then Unlimited, and like it's just so fleshed out. I mean, it's So I didn't even know beforehand that Barry Allen was the one before Wally West. I thought Wally West was first.
Yeah.
Because every version of Barry Allen that I've seen with CW and this, he's young. I was like, oh, so he must have been the younger
young
Kid Flash or
right.
whatever like that. So I didn't know that. I was like, oh okay.
Yeah, when I started reading Flash comics early 90s, you know, because the Flash TV show was on at the time.
Yeah.
And I remember reading, and Wally was your mainstay Flash for that point, because Barry died in 84. Like,
right.
Barry was dead for, you know, he was Flash for like 20 years.
Yeah.
And then it was Wally. And Wally was Flash till early 2000s.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, until they brought Barry back. But all the stuff you see, like, a lot of that stuff you got to give to Mark Waid and the writers of the Wally West series in the 90s. They give a lot, like the Speed Force didn't exist.
No.
You know, that was a Wally West thing. You know, the whole reason, like, the reason why his clothes don't fly apart is because he's got this frictionless bubble built by the Speed Force around him and stuff like that's all from the Wally West stuff. And they just kind of took it and incorporated it into, you know, into the Barry Allen version. But because Barry Allen in the original comic books, I've gone back and I've read some of the older issues. Like, he's just he's a nerd. You know, he's a science nerd. Doesn't have a lot of personality. The whole thing with the mother's death stuff is not a part of his backstory.
Oh, really?
Originally, no. Like, his parents were both alive.
Whose backstory is that part of?
That was,
or was it made up?
It was created for when they did Rebirth and they brought Barry back. That was part of it. So they did write that in, and that was Jeff Johns added that part to his backstory.
Was it always his like dad that was accused, or was?
I think so. Yes.
Because from the Flashpoint Paradox animated movie,
Yeah.
there was no dad in it. It was just
Yeah.
the mom was murdered,
Right.
and like no one knew why or how, but there was no talk of his dad at all.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting. The animated version, they just kind of breezed by that. Just, I think maybe because, I mean, they had to kind of tighten it up.
It was an hour and like 20 something, so
Yeah.
they needed to. Plus, with all the other characters they were bringing in too, you can't really focus on like just Barry there. But
Yeah.
I thought that compared to the live action Flash movie was much better because the reason he didn't even remember going back in time to save his mom.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really interesting. Like when he run in the climax of the movie, he runs into Professor Zoom, Reverse Flash,
Yeah.
and he tells him, like, it was you. I didn't do anything in the past to change all this. This was all you. And I was like, wow, that was a good twist. Because I never read the Flashpoint comic. And I thought that was like
They did
that
the
was
same
one-
thing in the CW show as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
But
I
yeah,
remember that from that.
I really like that how they like would in the live action Flash. Would you have loved to see Gal Gadot versus Jason Momoa's
Yes,
Aquaman in war?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Like that would have been
Absolutely.
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it makes me sad because it's like this is the end of this universe, right?
Right.
The Snyderverse is done,
Right.
and we finally get to see the beginning of this movie. The first 5 minutes, you get like a nice little like kind of like Justice League, kind of they get together.
Yeah.
You have the Wonder Woman showing up, who apparently just makes cameos now,
Yeah.
Right.
just shows up,
Yeah.
says, gives a wave and goes away. But like and all of them are kind of working together, and they all kind of like, we'll see you later kind of thing.
Yeah.
And you just know like, man, that's never going to happen. We're not going to see that group
Nope.
ever again.
No.
And like, like I don't know if you guys stuck around for the sting at the end of the
Oh
movie.
yeah.
I read about it and just left. I was
Yeah.
like,
Because
Yeah.
it's nothing. It's a nothing
Yeah.
moment.
Yeah,
exactly.
Jason
That's why I
Momoa
left.
getting drunk.
right.
And I'm like, what a waste of Momoa.
Yeah.
Right.
Obviously, he was probably filming Fast X at the time,
Yeah,
and
probably.
or his own movie, Aquaman 2.
Personally, I thought they filmed that button after the fact.
It did feel like they filmed it last week.
Well, yeah, only because Aquaman 2 hasn't come out yet, and so it's
Right.
like we gotta make sure people know that Aquaman 2 is
Yeah,
still
yeah,
around.
yeah.
So
it's still coming out.
Yeah,
guys.
So
that's the
I
only reason
think-
they did it.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's the only reason why they.
Which
have
I can't wait to see what kind of hot mess that movie is going to be.
Seriously.
Because, so
And isn't Amber Heard coming back?
I mean, she filmed.
Right.
But they also film stuff with Keaton, and they film stuff with Affleck.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
who
it's true.
knows if George Clooney's going to be showing up in those movies?
Oh, God. Oh, yeah. Yeah. What'd you guys, speaking of which, what do you guys think of the cameos? So we got a Nicolas Cage Superman cameo, which
Right.
has originally, there's a big documentary on it that was supposed to be the Nicolas Cage
Yeah.
Superman, which was a whole mess that never got off the ground. We saw the original 1950s
George Reeves,
Reeves
Yeah.
Superman. We saw the other Reeves Superman,
Christopher Reeves,
Chris Reeves
yeah.
Superman,
and Helen Slater as Supergirl. there, which was
Supergirl,
great.
yeah. Which I like them. I like that
Yeah.
movie. I didn't think that movie was terrible. The Supergirl movie,
Yeah.
from the 80s. I think it was bad.
We can talk about that.
Yeah, that's.
Oh, boy.
And so, what do you guys think of? I mean, I understood what they were trying to do, and I get that they were trying to give callbacks to all the different verses,
Right.
different universes that this says, and all different changes that
Yeah.
all these different characters have gone through.
Well, I mean,
but
my problems with it is this: the visual effects looked terrible.
terrible,
Yeah.
right? That's what I was going
And
to say.
a visual effects artist did come out going like, if a lot of people are going like, this looked like it was done like in a week, it probably was.
I don't get what really stood out to me as far as the effects went. When I was like, what is happening right now? Is when he kept going into what's it called, the arena where he could
the
see
chronosphere.
Yeah,
Chronosphere.
Thank you.
and the FX in there looked terrible. It's like but they
Right.
did do that on purpose because it looked so bad.
That's what the director came
Yeah.
out and said.
Right.
Oh yeah, it's because it's the Speed Force. It's supposed to look bad.
it looks like right.
I think that's an excuse.
I think
that's
so
a
as well.
company line to be
Yeah.
like, look, we didn't have time.
Yeah,
You want to do all this stuff.
because I didn't buy that either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And from what I've heard, and this has been confirmed by Grant Gustin filmed a cameo that was supposed to show up.
Wow.
The TV show Flash.
Yeah,
Wow.
They didn't add that.
Yep.
They didn't put John Wesley Shipp, who's the '90s Flash.
Mhm.
Like, why wasn't previous Flashes in there?
exactly.
Why was
Yes.
I get like it's all it is a nostalgia rub. Like to see these other things, it's like, hey, look, we've got Nicolas Cage, we
Yeah.
got which.
Finally fighting a giant spider.
Right.
Finally, from which,
But that's no connect.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with the story. It has no connection
None.
with those characters.
exactly.
Like, where's Linda Carter? Like as
Yes.
Wonder Woman.
Yes.
Like give her some credit.
Yeah.
Right.
And she still looks amazing. You still
Right.
like, and they did the same thing. What's funny is they did it on the WB or CW. Sorry. Used to be the WB.
Yeah.
They did, Crisis Infinite Earths, and they did that whole thing where it pulled off and it showed different different
Yeah.
Earths.
Yeah.
And I feel like they did it better for a TV show that has
Not even a quarter of the budget.
right the catering budget. For
Yeah,
this,
exactly. Yeah.
they pulled it off better,
Much more so.
right?
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
is sad and especially this movie has been sitting on a shelf for 2 years.
Yeah.
And they reworked and I've heard there's multiple endings to this movie.
Oh wow.
That they shot. You know, the original ending.
Barry stabbing his mom.
No. No, it's the... So this is what I heard. And I've seen pictures to confirm this. So the first ending that they shot it's the same courtroom scene at the end, you know, and the car pulls up and it's not George Clooney, but Michael Keaton's Batman.
That's what I thought because the audio before him walking out sounded like Michael Keaton.
Right.
And there's pictures of Michael Keaton in the suit by the car, you know, like, and I was waiting for like, oh, Keaton's going to come out and they're going to be like, hey, he's alive. Nope, they scrapped that because that was going to lead into the Batgirl movie and him and that whole kind of side project.
Yeah.
And that's why Keaton filmed for Aquaman as well. Then I heard that they reshot the ending with Keaton again, Supergirl landing on the roof of the courthouse, which they shot her. They have pictures of her on the courthouse, and Henry Cavill's Superman.
What?
So Henry Cavill, when he came back to do his cameo for Black Adam, also filmed that.
Oh wow!
Which I'm like, why?
Why wouldn't you use it?
Right.
Yeah.
So
You know?
I'm hoping this stuff ends up on a Blu-ray or something.
Well, I thought I heard about like the quote unquote director's cut or like whatever,
No.
But this
It's going to be like Blade Runner, where there's different cuts. You
Yeah.
know, that's and then finally 20 years from now we'll get the definite.
And there was
cut.
there was stuff filmed with Ray Fisher Cyborg that they completely scrapped because of him in the studio not getting along.
Right.
Yeah.
Because it was supposed to be more of a Flash Cyborg storyline together.
I mean, that's what is the
Kind of like the
paradox.
Flashpoint paradox. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So we would have had more Cyborg rather than just a mention of him playing football. So it's like, so like stuff like the visual, because this is a movie that who knows how many different versions there are.
There's going to be.
There,
yeah.
You know, and I feel like whatever we got was just kind of like, here.
Yeah.
Like, our baby faces don't look great. Okay, have fun.
Right, exactly.
Babies.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was, I think probably the strongest point, one of the strongest parts of the movie, I should say, was Supergirl.
Yeah.
I think I loved her.
Yeah.
I thought she was. I kind of want to see a movie with just her.
Yeah.
Give me a movie with just
Absolutely.
with that actress and playing that character.
Yeah.
I think that was great. She was, the way they found her was pretty tragic, and then the way that I actually found myself invested in her story, because when they finally got her up to the sun, she's kind of weakened in this kind of terrible state, and then they're about to shoot Keaton and Barry, and then they aim up.
Yeah.
And you see Supergirl up there,
Yeah.
and she just starts wailing on these guys, and I was like, wow, this is I thought it was really interesting also how she wasn't overpowered, which I thought they might go that route, but she wasn't. She actually couldn't beat Zod. No matter how many times they try to change the outcome.
Yeah.
She wasn't strong enough to beat Zod, which I thought was an interesting take. I was like, oh wow, she just can't beat these guys on her own. They're just too much. I thought that was an interesting take.
And I guess they've really closed a chapter on those characters.
Right.
Like Keaton's not coming back.
Yeah.
Which is, God, what a sad thing. I was elated to have him come back.
Yeah,
I was so excited.
We got to talk about his performance in this.
Yeah. And then, what a sad way to end out that character.
I know.
You want this movie to make
a
shit ton of money, but
quickly off of the Supergirl, there was a longer fight scene filmed, and there was stuff they cut out. So she's hoping they'll put the rest of it back into the movie when it comes out.
Give me a movie with just her, man. I'll watch that. What did you guys think of Keaton?
I thought he was amazing, and the fight choreography for him was perfect. It was everything I wanted to see. But there was something missing that it just felt kind of flat for me. And part of me thinks it was because watching the Flashpoint Paradox, I was like, there's a more meaningful thing here with Thomas Wayne being Batman. And because of, at the end of the animated film Paradox, Barry brings back a note from Thomas Wayne to Bruce, and he tears up. And I was like, oh man,
that scene and Kevin Conroy doing the voice.
Yeah.
And just telling Barry thank you.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
Yeah. And that's why I was like, oh, maybe they should have had Michael Keaton as a Thomas Wayne type. And then he's, but that's the thing. Since you have George Clooney, that wouldn't have hit.
Right.
Because it's a different Batman in a sense.
Yeah.
But the same, you know. So.
And yeah, you could bring back Affleck and do that scene with Affleck, but then he's not doing any more Batman movies.
Yeah, so it's...
You know? And he wore the worst bat suit.
That thing looked weird. What's up with that?
It was like paintball armor on top of it. Like, I love the color scheme. They went with the blue and gray, which I was so excited to see blue and gray.
Yeah.
Because we haven't seen that since Adam West.
Right.
Yeah.
But then they throw on all the added stuff for no reason. Anyway. Yeah. And my gripes.
No, it's just I was so excited to see Keaton again, and when he was on screen, when his introduction, how he kind of beats the shit out of both of them.
Oh yeah,
which was great. Just
cooking spaghetti.
Yeah, you know,
he was drunk too, and
I like how they went with he kind of is in semi-retirement because he did such a good job at Gotham that there's no more crime, so he's not really needed anymore. I was like, okay, that's interesting.
It's better than what they did with all the Spider-Man. Coming back in.
Yeah, for
sure. It's like those guys had no it was just like, we're coming to help you, Tom Holland, and that was it. But this, like, actually you see like a progression with the character.
Right, exactly.
I would like a little more story from that guy. Like, what happened between him and Catwoman?
Yeah.
You know, like something.
Do you think there should have been an ace, like a dog?
Yes.
Absolutely. In his mansion with him?
Give me Bat-Hound.
From Batman Beyond, he had ace.
Yeah. Okay.
So like it could. I mean that could have been like a little teaser if they were gonna do the Batman Beyond.
Do you think that they would do a Keaton Batman movie? Like prior to him running into Barry?
With the way this one did, probably not.
Yeah.
But
I could see, let's say, in Gunn's universe, or I mean, they're still letting people do the extent like
they said there's still Elseworlds.
So they could do an Elseworlds Batman with him.
Because I think like a Batman Beyond movie,
either that or just him. As an older Batman, like I mean, the thing is, he wouldn't have Alfred, so that would be kind of like hard.
I would love to have him be an older Batman training Terry McGinnis.
That would be great. That would be. Really
That'd be awesome. You know, I'd love to see that.
But who would you? Do you have an idea in your head who you would want to be
as Terry?
Terry, I would think of like a young Keanu Reeves. You know that's the look. I think. Him. Yeah. That's what I would think.
I'm Batman.
Like a Bill and Ted.
He did Batman's voice in the Super Pets movie.
Oh, you're right. He did.
Oh, he did. Yeah. I mean, that would be who I would think.
Timothy Chalamet is Batman.
Interesting.
That's
Batman Beyond. Oh, Terry McGinnis.
Yeah, I can see.
He's doing the Dune stuff.
Yeah.
Who's the kid in the spy movie? Oh my God, the Kingsman. What's the kid's name?
Oh yeah.
Well, he's like 30 now.
Yeah.
But I mean, he could
he's
play.
Not really a kid.
He could kind of play. He's not that tall. I mean, he could kind of play younger.
Maybe.
He's everyone's choice for Wolverine.
He would probably be like a middle-aged Batman.
Yeah. I think you want to go young. You want to go fairly,
I can't even think of anybody.
I'm not going to say like Stranger Things.
Maybe Timothy Chalamet.
Yeah, he's like the youngest I could think of at the moment.
Because he's what, 22, something 22? Like that?
Yeah. That'd be interesting.
All my actors are old now.
Yeah.
They're all playing older statesmen now.
Right. Any other thoughts on Flash?
Michael Shannon kind of was just there. He didn't.
Yeah, that was definitely a superimposed face.
It felt like it.
That's not. Yeah, I don't think he was actually on set.
Like he
at
was
all.
just in green screen, and then they put his face in.
It's like the meme of him coming out of the closet with the bag.
Oh yeah,
I'm gonna go home now.
I feel like
they just took that and just put it on.
Right. Yeah, but, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what they did with the
I'm
special effects.
Excited for this director, Andy Muschietti, I want to say. He is going to do it's been confirmed he's doing the next Batman movie.
Oh yeah, the Brave and the Bold.
He's doing Brave and the Bold.
Nice.
And you like watching, because I'm a super Batman nerd, and I've seen Batman 89 a billion times. I don't know, ridiculous amount. And the amount of detail that he got right in this one.
Oh, yeah.
Like, even stuff like, so they walk into, like, the armory room.
Oh, yeah.
And you see all the armors from 89. You're like, oh, my God.
No, everything 89 was great,
Yeah.
The kitchen, that the big fight happens, is the exact kitchen that Alfred gives him,
That's right.
the food in.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, the amount of detail he got right in this, which he didn't have to do.
No. Right.
But even, like, the Wayne Manor is the exact same Wayne Manor, like the Batcave, the Batwing was great. Yeah, I mean, I wish the Batmobile was more than just a prop.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I
would
thought
like
they
it
were
to,
actually going to use it.
turn it on. Yeah, it would be
Yeah.
great. But
They probably had to cut that.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
you don't want too much Batman in your Flash movie.
Right.
But
Well, I mean,
I'd be
like,
okay with that.
since he's
Yeah.
going to be doing the Brave and the Bold, do you think? Well, like, what kind of Batman would you want from him to present to you?
I don't know. See, this is I've been wondering about this because like do you do because it's gonna be Bruce and Damian.
Yeah.
So I was thinking like where was because you want to do a Bruce that's probably close to 40,
Right.
True.
late 30s.
Yeah, I mean, well, because if Superman in this new universe is going to be like 30
Yeah,
or ish,
yeah,
because
he's
the actor's like 29 or
29.
30.
Yeah,
So if he's playing 30 or something like that, then yeah, you kind of want, because Batman's always been close in age, right, to Superman?
yeah.
So yeah, in his 30s,
Yeah.
Batman, yeah. And then, so I'll be like, a lot of history happened with Batman, even though he's in his 30s.
Yeah.
So.
What was it? The Dark Knight trilogy of him as Batman was only like 2 years.
Yeah,
or
I know.
something.
Well, there was an
Yeah.
8-year gap between
Yeah.
the Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises,
Yeah.
so I was like, okay.
But he was only been Batmaning for like
Yeah.
a little bit of time.
Yeah.
But a lot happens to him.
So maybe, I mean,
But in terms of like style or
yeah, like because I watch, in my head when I think of Brave and the Bold, I think of the cartoon that
right,
was on.
yeah, obviously.
And so it's like, I don't think it's going to be that silly.
No.
Because I know there was a comic book as well that was very different from the show.
Right.
But it still had all these other characters popping in to help out.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
since
yeah.
he's going to have Robin, do you really need all those characters?
Yeah,
to jump
in.
Well, I hope they learned their lesson and kind of like let's slow things down.
Yeah.
We don't need a ton of characters showing up in things.
No.
I'm still excited for Blue Beetle.
Hmm?
'Cause
Yeah, I
that's
saw
gonna
the
be
trailer
kind of
for that.
It looks very standalone. It
Yeah.
looks like okay, and I mean the suit looks really good. It looks
I just
like
I don't
the
know how
comic.
well it'll do because again, I mean, if Shazam didn't do that well, if Black Adam didn't do that
And
well,
Blue
people be
Beetle's-
like, "Who
yeah,
the fuck is
yeah.
Blue Beetle?"
Yeah,
So
it's-
I don't know
I
how well
hope-
it's gonna do.
yeah.
I mean, to
Yeah.
me, from the trailer, it gives off a lot of CW vibe. And that's just,
Well, it was supposed to be on
was
on
it?
the Max. It was supposed to be on HBO Max.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
And then they were like,
Oh.
"Oh, it's so good, we're gonna throw it on the big
okay.
screen." But originally,
Yeah.
it was supposed to that and Batgirl were gonna go straight to HBO Max.
Well, the fact that they're bringing a cosmic... Well, would you say Blue Beetle's a cosmic?
Yeah.
type
Oh
of
yeah.
character?
Yeah.
So the fact that they're bringing him in that early to this universe is like, you still got to get super... Like, once you bring in Superman, then you give things space.
Right.
You
Well,
know?
James Gunn's already come out and said officially it's the first movie of his DCU.
What, Blue Beetle?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Even though it comes out before Aquaman 2, so I don't know how that works. But but he was on the Inside of You podcast with Michael Rosenbaum, speaking of Flash.
Yeah.
And he said that Blue Beetle is the official start of his version of the universe. So I think we'll see some interesting things. I think tonally we'll see how it goes, and it might pair up with what he's planning to do with the universe. And
Well, with a clip of George Lopez in that saying, Batman's a fascist.
I was
do
just
you
about to
think-
bring that up. I don't know how it's. Don't be careful.
Well, no, because if that kind of gives a tone of what the Batman will be,
Right.
Because
Right.
if his son's Damien, maybe he is a little more rough around
Yeah.
the edges.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like,
I suppose, but yeah, don't take a shot at the only popular character you have left.
I mean, yeah.
That's how you want to start off Blue Beetle. That nobody knows who they are.
Speaking of Gun Universe, though, the casting with I'm blanking on the actors' names, but for Lois and Superman themselves,
they
that's
just
That's
made
a good,
an announcement.
That's a good segue into the next one. Yeah, for Superman Lois casting.
yeah, I think the Rachel. Oh my God. You're pulling it up.
I'm
now.
pulling it up
But
now.
I think she's a perfect Lois. Like
Yeah.
I watched Marvelous Miss Maisel. On,
Rachel Brosnahan.
Yeah, Brosnahan.
Brosnahan
Yeah.
and David Cornsweet.
Sweat.
These names are terrible.
Yeah. The agent needs to change him to
Right.
David Copperfield.
So it's funny. So I have a theory about this.
okay.
So watching the Inside of You podcast and James Gunn and obviously Michael Rosenbaum played Lex Luthor on Smallville, and he was just like, so like, can you say anything about casting Lex Luthor or anything like that.
Can you say anything about
Right.
that? Yeah.
Well, James Gunn came out and said that Michael Rosenbaum was his favorite Lex Luthor.
Okay.
So, hey, and they're buddies. But, you know.
He puts his brother in everything. So
Right.
I mean,
Exactly.
Rosenbaum did make an appearance in the third Guardians movie.
That's right. That's right.
He was an alien. So you didn't.
He's
really
the crystal-headed guy.
Yeah.
But he's in 2 as well for that.
Oh, really? I
Yeah.
didn't know.
But so, you know, James Gunn came out and was like, everyone thinks they know who's being cast. And, you know, because internet's been saying this guy should be Superman for a long time.
Yeah.
You know, at least 6 months, this guy's picture's been popping up, going like, perfect Superman, perfect Superman. He's a young Henry Cavill. He does look just bargain basement Henry Cavill. And, you know, James Gunn was like, well, don't listen to rumors. Don't, you know, no one's been cast yet. And I feel they saw The Flash and it bombed hard. And there was a little bit of a panic. And they're like, who's hot that everyone would agree would be a good Superman and Lois? Because, you know, there's rumors for years like, oh, it's not going to be, you know, a white man, you know, like, you know, it's not going to be your typical Superman choice.
Yeah.
And, you know, a lot of names were thrown around. And they got a guy that, I mean, very much is just Henry Cavill Jr.
Well, you know, the fact that you say Henry Cavill Jr., I see less of that, and I see more of the Smallville Superman in his
Tom
face.
Welling? Yeah,
because they got the
I
same
get
kind
that.
of jawline and like the very boyish look. So
Right,
it's like,
yeah. He's from that mold,
Yeah,
for sure.
I see it there. So I was like, okay, I guess.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I think a Superman needs to... Corn Sweat needs to get to
think
the
he's-
gym,
yeah,
starts
I mean,
injecting
look.
some GHGH in
Like
there. And just,
if Pratt can do it, I
Hey.
feel like anything's possible.
Yeah,
Yeah.
true.
You know, and this guy's like 6'4". I looked at, he's like him and Chris Reeves were the tallest Superman.
Oh,
They're
wow,
6'4".
I didn't know
So,
I didn't know that either.
you know, he's got a big frame. I think,
Yeah.
all right, you know, he could probably get some mass, bro.
yeah.
Have you guys watched Superman Lois at all? I think that's
I
kind of
have.
being like swept under the rug. That poor guy is being kind of like
He's been great in
yeah,
it.
and
And
it's a good show
season
too,
has
and
been-
nobody's ever talking about it.
Yeah,
I feel.
and the guy from Abraham from
Walking Dead.
Walking Dead.
Yeah.
He's playing Lex Luthor right
Yeah.
now, and he's terrifying. He's great.
Really?
yeah,
Yeah,
I
he's
haven't seen it yet.
he's just been past few episodes. I don't want to spoil anything. They do some really cool stuff, and he comes out and just straight up threatens Lois, because Lois, you know, in the story, is the one that sent him to jail.
right.
Oh.
And he's saying none of those, you know, like you sent me to jail, none of that stuff was factual about me. Like it was bad journalism that got him in jail.
Right.
But he's like, but now I'm out, so watch out, kind of thing. Like, I'm gonna, you know, basically threatens her whole family,
Sure.
and threatens Clark, right?
Yeah.
Like, and it's so good. It's like it's been.
Does
really
he know Clark is Superman?
Good. I don't think
Doesn't
so.
seem like he does. Yeah.
Yeah, no.
I like the
There's
show.
always that ambiguity, though.
Yeah.
you know, like
I really like the show, but I hate
because he's like, and if your friend Superman comes,
oh, I
know.
see. Yeah, of course. I mean, that's always the. It's like I'll
because
be,
he's supposed to be the smartest guy on the planet.
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So
But I think though what pulls me out of that show is all the scene. I mean, the kids do great, right?
Yes.
The kids are great.
Yeah.
But I just don't care about them, and it's this melodrama stuff.
I agree. Yeah.
I get it.
The teens are the least interesting aspect of it.
this
And-
last season's been pretty
Really?
good with what's this, Jordan Kent, the one that has
Oh yeah,
the
the
powers.
has powers. Yeah.
Yeah, they did some good stuff. Like it's very much like we want, because yet again and something that the Flash did was we're telling an origin story without telling an origin
Yeah.
story, which is like, so we got the kid learning his powers, which is kind of Smallville
Yep.
ish, and then the dad who's Superman, and
Yeah.
like they've done some really cool stuff with him this season.
Because the kids getting in trouble and stuff with that. I was like, oh, they kept us like, let's
Right.
get back to more Superman stuff.
Yeah,
exactly.
I keep that's. I mean, I
even
understand.
the other brother who plays Jonathan.
Yeah.
His story's been really great too, because it's like
Is he supposed to be like the Jonathan Kent? Like,
only a name only.
okay.
You know, that's the whole thing. Is like
All
he doesn't have powers.
Oh. I would have loved if he was like sort of a clone, half Lex, half Superman.
Connor Kent.
Connor, sorry,
Yeah,
Connor Kent.
no.
That's what I'm thinking of. So my bad.
No, but they do a really. I mean, because there's the flip of like, you know, Jordan is the, you know, introverted, you know, and,
Yeah.
and Jonathan is the jock, and you
Yeah.
expect the jock to have the powers and everything, and he doesn't. And it's, how do you live in this family, you know? And he has his bonding with his mom more, because like we're in this family without powers.
Yeah.
What can we do to do our part, kind of
Yeah.
thing. and so I think he's like doing firefighting in this season. But
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Oh, okay.
I mean, I did love. I thought it was interesting, the from the previous season with the Lex Luthor from the other universe.
yeah, the
And-
John Cryer as Lex Luthor.
No.
You're talking about
He took the name only,
Luthor,
really.
yeah. It was John Henry Irons.
John. Yes, the man. And I was like, oh, Man of Steel. Oh shit.
Yeah.
So-
I wish his suit was a little better because
Yeah.
it's got like a very Halo.
It looked
looking
like
suit.
the suit from G.I. Joe.
Yeah,
And I was like,
I think but that next season, the fourth season, got major. Like the budget got slashed. Like it's already a pretty cheap show,
yeah.
and it looks amazing for what their budget is. But so now, like half the cast are not regulars anymore. They're going to be like special guest appearances kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it doesn't look. I mean, because it's the last of that Berlanti universe now. Every other show got canceled,
Yeah.
or
like Doom Patrol's done.
Doom Patrol,
Titans done.
Stargirl. Which was great, by the way. Stargirl was great.
I really hope James Gunn decides to bring it into the movie universe that he's making, Swamp Thing, because the show that was recently done a few years back was so good. But like, since I know James Gunn loves the monsters, like
He loves
different
the weird and
weird characters of the universe, like Swamp Thing would be right up his alley. I would hope he would think about bringing them.
That would be awesome. That'd be awesome to see. I love that because that show was so good and it got canceled.
Yeah.
Sad. And then so we recently checked out the Kraven trailer as well.
Oh yeah.
Speaking of sad.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I segued into it.
But I will say it looks better than
segue,
Morbius.
bro.
It looks better than Morbius.
How
It's
dare you, Chadwick? You know how I love that movie.
I know.
And I will go to bat for
I know
Morbius.
you dressed up like Morbius and you brought,
I celebrate Morbin Day.
Morbin time.
Morbin time.
How many times you watched it?
Not as much as Batman Returns. But,
Do you have it on?
You don't have to rewatch it when it just lives in your heart.
That's true.
That's true.
I mean,
How
I
many
wish
times you seen an Angel's Tears?
I wish this wasn't just a podcast medium, so we could show off all your Morbius tattoos.
That's true. The full back tat I have.
Yeah, that's pretty dope.
Jay Leno.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I know Morbius didn't have them, but the Morbius I grew up on was from the '90s cartoon, where since they didn't give him, he did have fangs,
he couldn't be a vampire.
Could be a vampire.
yeah, but he had these like pulse, which was more creepier. And
the sucker hands.
the sucker hands that would suck plasma out of people's bodies.
Yeah, it was weird.
Yeah, he didn't drink blood. He sucked plasma.
Yeah. And then they would be just passed out until almost like a parasite type of thing from Superman. So I was like, okay, whatever. But that introduced Blade, and he was like,
That's right.
he was badass in that. I was, man. But and the fact that they didn't, well, obviously because it's Sony, they wouldn't have brought Marvel MCU's Blade into that movie,
but,
which would have been a great introduction, though, regardless.
It looks very violent.
Yeah.
Looks very violent.
Craven.
It's
yes,
Craven.
yes.
Yeah.
Back to Craven. Sorry.
Back to
We
Craven.
went on a more.
No, it's fine.
That's because it's a better movie, and
it's not.
we can talk about that for an
It's
hour.
got Russell Crowe. That's already like 10 times
That's
better.
right. It's got
than-
Russell.
God, that must have been the entire budget went to Russell Crowe.
Yeah, it's 60% of it.
He's like, I want to hunt a real lion.
Yeah.
They're like, okay.
Yeah. I mean, what do you guys think? Do you guys gonna go watch it? Are you gonna? Is it your nerdly duty to go watch it in theaters?
I mean, probably have a couple drinks and then go see it or something like that. But here's the problem: the fact that Sony's on this like anti-hero kick. They can't just let a villain be like. I would see a movie if the guy was just a villain, like if he was just being a terrible human being the whole time. Because I mean, I don't think every person needs a redeeming thing about him. Sometimes you could be so evil, but you're so charming that it's intoxicating to just watch. Because we watch so many crime shows. Yeah, there's like some good reason to why they do some stuff, but then there's just like that's a fucking shitty thing that they did. And you can't really forgive that.
Okay.
So I mean,
yeah. No, I'm not a fan of the anti-hero angle that they're going. Obviously, they're they want to be, you can't make him too. I mean, he's supposed to be a wildlife hunter. Like big
Right.
game hunter.
Yeah.
And how do you do that and still make him so people want to go see it again and again and see multiple? They're thinking long term. They're thinking sequels, baby. We gotta have multiple Kraven movies, a Kraven franchise, and you can't do that if he's like shooting elephants in the head or whatever. You know.
Yeah.
But I will take a crappy anti-hero starter movie if it leads to Kraven's Last Hunt.
I mean,
As a Spider-Man movie.
That's what I'm thinking they're going to, which would be interesting to see these two face off.
Right.
Which would be interesting to see this Kraven and Tom Holland's Spider-Man face off.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're going to go that route. It doesn't seem like they will.
I know.
But it'd be interesting. And I think the casting for the Kraven is really good. What's his name?
Aaron Taylor Johnson.
Yeah.
I think he looks pretty
Although,
good.
he's missing a Russian accent. I think.
Yeah. What did you think about that, Jack? Because you said something about it during the trailer. We were watching it.
He's doing like an American accent.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's.
Which I'm like,
because Russell Crowe has a Russian accent.
yeah.
He
It's
was
accent palooza. Everyone's doing a different
yeah.
accent.
You could tell you could tell Russell Crowe was committed. It's like, oh yeah, no, this character's Russian. I'm gonna do a Russian voice. But Aaron Taylor Johnson,
which part of Russia do you want him from?
I already did one for Quicksilver, so I don't want to confuse people.
That's true.
That's what I'm
That's
thinking.
true.
Oh yeah.
It's like we don't want to confuse. If
I
anyone's
forgot
that
he's-
dumb to think, oh, is this Quicksilver and Kraven?
my
I mean,
God.
come on.
He's chasing after cars.
I mean, yeah. Technically, from that trailer, he gives off. So this is a violent Beastmaster because he's
friends with the
animals.
animals.
Friends with the
Yeah.
animals. So it's like, okay, if I wanted this, I would just go watch Beastmaster.
Right.
And I did watch the television show, and so if there's ferrets in it, then I'll be like, come on, guys.
I was expecting to see the mane.
The mane. Hopefully he
shaggy
gets
mane,
that at some point.
Yeah.
They show it for like 1 second of the. It's gonna be the last. It's gonna be
Yeah,
the
the
last scene.
second. Yeah.
He's gonna put that jacket on for the
Right.
last minute of the
Yeah.
movie, and he's
Jeez.
now I'm Kraven Burger or something.
Craven Burger. I'm Craven Burger. Oh my god, that would be hilarious. So if he's in the city, and he's like, oh, where can I get food? And it's like, oh, the some person he befriends is like, oh yeah, come here. It's just some fast food restaurant. He's like, what is this? And he's like, oh, burger. And he's like, this is meat. And he bites and he's like, oh man, I've been craving this all day.
That's the Applebee's tie-in that they're gonna do.
Yeah, and they'll have a Kraven burger as well.
By the way, have you been seeing the ads for Applebee's tie-in with Dial of Destiny?
Oh,
No.
God, no.
If
What
you
is it?
spend $35
I
at
saw.
Applebee's,
Yeah, you get a ticket,
you get a free ticket
Yeah.
to see the movie. I'm like,
and you spend $70, you get 2, something like that.
I'm
Yeah.
like, well, that's just you're not
That's
going to make any money.
Not looking good.
All right, so
yeah.
I'm gonna get the appetizers, and I'm gonna get the chicken fajitas because you got to get that sizzling pan
That's right.
come brought over to you,
Mhm.
and probably a Coke, and then maybe a Long Island iced tea.
I want an ad with Harrison Ford at an Applebee's.
Oh my
just
god,
like,
that'd be great.
I'm gonna get myself just what do you got here? Quesadilla. Yeah, okay, that'd be great. Just mumbling all the way
All
through
doing
the ad.
the-
Oh no, wait, no,
Harrison, you want to be excited? Okay, it's really
Okay, I'm excited.
I love this the taste of this fajita wrap is scrum delicious.
Where he's like, bees. Why does it always have to be bees? It's like, I thought it was snakes. Well, for this, it's bees. Applebee's. Are there bees in an apple? I don't understand. Let me. Oh no. Or he crashes a plane into an Applebee's.
There you go.
Oh God.
He's like, oh man.
I had to get here for happy hour.
Yeah, there you go.
There
Oh,
you go.
God.
I don't know if they have a bloomin' onion, but I'm gonna assume they do.
Yeah, I don't know how it's going to work out for Disney.
we'll
I have my own
find
thoughts
out.
about it. I will not be watching it on opening weekend. I'll probably catch it on streaming. Whenever we do the podcast after the movie's
Right.
been out, you guys can tell me what you think about it, and I'll decide whether or not to go watch it in
we're
theaters.
We're gonna sell it to you. We're gonna
you can spoil it for me because I don't give a shit at this point.
Well,
I'll probably just watch it on streaming.
I rewatched all the other indie films this week.
Well, aside from Crystal Skull.
I watched Crystal Skull.
Oh, you mean the 3 original indie films? Yes, that only exists,
and the Young Indiana Jones Adventures.
Yeah. No, those actually aren't bad.
Not bad. There's actually an episode with Harrison
I've been
Ford
rewatching those. Yeah.
The problem I had with rewatching Crystal Skull, not as half bad as I thought.
That's pretty bad. I recently rewatched it too. It's pretty bad.
It's very flat looking.
Yeah,
My problem is the way it was shot. Like
exactly.
it doesn't have the look of an indie film.
It doesn't feel like an indie film.
Right.
Yeah, it feels very flat. It feels like a TV show indie.
Yes.
Yeah. You know?
Is it because like CG?
CG, yeah.
The CG looks bad.
It's terrible.
And just
when Mutt is swinging through the vines, it's like, what the?
It looks like it's all one plane.
Right.
It doesn't look. There's no depth and no warmth to it.
So I recently watched a video on YouTube about a guy talking about Steven Spielberg's shots, how he frames every shot, how he's so efficient with his shots. Like he doesn't do a lot of cuts, especially in Indiana Jones.
Yeah,
it's just like one shot, it's one frame, and when the characters talk, he kind of just moves the camera
with it. Yeah.
So it's so efficient. So it feels like you're actually in the room with the character. I was like, oh, that's right. That's one.
You don't feel that with this last one.
You don't feel that at all with the last one.
Right.
I'm almost positive you're not gonna feel it with this one.
Well, okay, I'm gonna say this: James Mangold is a hell of a shooter.
But here's the thing, though. It's not James Mangold is in charge of this. Like Steven Spielberg was in charge of the other movies.
Right.
Steven Spielberg was God on the first 3 Indiana Jones films.
That is not producer on this.
Yeah, but that doesn't matter anymore. These last film, and especially this one, it's up to Lucasfilm, it's up to Disney, and they're the ones who make the final shots. James Mangold will go out there and say, "I want to do this," and like, yeah, actually. Our polling shows, and then so you can't do that. So whatever it is, and I'm almost positive that's exactly what happened in this movie. That there was a lot of interference.
We'll find out.
We're gonna find out. I don't know. You know what?
I trust Mangold. I think he's a great director.
I trust Mangold too. I just don't trust Disney.
I think they picked a really good director to put it in the hands of. So, but I understand Disney and the hesitation with post-production,
right?
All the stuff that can happen, but
yeah, I don't see how directors nowadays working with large studios like Marvel, like Lucasfilm, or just Disney in general have any kind of control. I don't believe they do. I just don't. So, you want to say something, Jen?
Well, no, I was just gonna say I want to give. I mean, I won't get the chance because I'm seeing it tomorrow, but I would like to give Crystal Skull another watch because I only saw it the once in theater.
That was it. All 3 of the indie films are on.
Absolutely bonkers.
Yeah.
No, I remember like just the part of it though is like I think I remember dozing off at one point, so I was just like confused. So I was like, wait, why is there aliens here?
No, they're not aliens.
They're interdimensional aliens.
Yeah.
This is my input in from George Lucas here. I just wanted to.
Well, it was Spielberg who was like, I'm not doing fucking aliens anymore.
Like, what about interdimensional?
That was Lucas was like interdimensional beings.
Yeah,
and Spielberg was like, fine.
Yeah.
I
mean, well, I think that because before Crystal Skull, he already did Minority Report and AI, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
I mean, he's used to a lot of green screen stuff, so maybe it was just he didn't have the proper team.
Yeah, I'm wondering who did the cinematography between the movies, but
like I don't know. Yeah, who the cinematographer was for the first 3 films, but like obviously he probably wasn't on or around for the fourth one.
The practical effects in those first 3 movies are so well done.
Yeah.
Oh,
and then and the fact they could save money is like, oh, we don't have to go to these destinations. So I mean, that's gonna be you're not gonna have the same feel regardless. So this new one, obviously, there's gonna be a lot of CG in there, and well, you're just gonna deal with that. And
well, he's fighting Nazis again, so I mean, that's a recipe that always works for an indie film.
Sure. We'll see how it goes. Sure. We'll see how it does. I wish him luck. I will not be watching it.
The listeners just heard your eyes roll.
I will not be watching it on opening weekend, and so good luck.
I mean, I've
also heard the disrespect of the character, so that's the other thing that kind of is throwing me off.
Yeah.
I've heard there's a part, I'm just going to spoil it, where Phoebe Waller-Bridge knocks out Indiana Jones, and I'm like, okay, that's just disrespect to the character, so... let me know how it goes.
I mean, he is an old guy. He could
that's even worse.
He could be sucker
That's even
punched
worse.
Well, maybe her
Sucker
character's
punch an old man?
Maybe her character's not that respectable. You know, she's like a mischief given.
That's the way Chad likes him.
Yeah.
You know, I don't mind being beaten up. You know, like sometimes
She ticks all the boxes for him.
That's exactly what I want to see. Indiana Jones getting knocked down in an Indiana Jones film. That's exactly what I want to see.
Well, like he was even saying in one of the interviews that he's not as spry as he used to be. So,
Right.
Of course not.
which works for the character. So, depending on the context of that punch, said punch.
So, do you want me to tell you the context of the punch?
No,
Because
well,
it's somebody that already watched it and told me, and I was like, "What?" That's
No, I'll wait to see
find
it.
out. We'll find out. But I will say I've been watching Harrison Ford on the Apple Plus show Shrinking.
Mm-hmm.
He's fantastic on that show.
Oh,
Fantastic.
yeah. No, he's still a good actor.
And like the energy he has in that show, I haven't seen from Harrison Ford in many years. Like even more than Force Awakens. Like like he is like acting on another level, and I'm hoping he brings.
Are we
that
talking
energy.
Air Force One Harrison Ford?
Yeah,
Get off my plane.
Yeah. Like it's
good movie.
It's like he's been.
I miss those kind of movies.
You know, like I
want Air Force 2 to happen.
Let's
do that.
So good. He's a retired.
Get
president.
off my helicopter.
No, he only ran for that one term and then decided to run again, so he's president again.
There you go. It writes itself.
Yeah, see,
don't give away your ideas.
Yeah, sure. You know, we go back to the old '90s action movies.
Man.
Speaking of old '90s,
Gary Oldman survived his neck being snapped.
yeah, there you go. Yeah.
He's
back.
in a wheelchair.
He's back for revenge.
I'm here for revenge, Gerald Ford.
He's like he's Captain Pike from the original series with the flashing light. Oh my god. Beep beep beep. Speaking of old '90s action movies. We all saw Extraction 2.
I didn't because
so Watson and I
2
saw
out of 3.
Extraction 2. Yeah.
But you guys,
Hey, there's nothing to spoil.
No, I mean,
he goes in to get some people out of a dangerous situation.
Tyler Rake is back.
Yeah, Tyler Rake.
With my alt-right haircut. I mean,
no, it's a Chad
Got
haircut.
time to do another.
haircut.
I gotta pull a molar. It's an extraction.
What'd you think of it, Watson?
I loved it.
So
I love
more than the first one.
So good.
I
think the first one was a little more grounded, but
really,
yeah.
Yes,
but I enjoy the first one more, but this one definitely was because it's just like John Wick. They got to ramp this.
No,
they got to ramp everything up.
Action movies, that has to happen.
Yeah.
But in the context of like, because you have the Fast Five and the Mission Impossibles, and they're going even more outlandish.
Right.
Is that? Would you say this is still grounded compared to those? Like
compared to Fast Five, compared to the Fast and Furious movies,
like
definitely,
like even
there's
the
scene,
Fast Four, you know.
Yeah, definitely. There's a couple parts where I was like, okay, like he shoots down a helicopter that completely misses him. With the machine gun.
He's got the.
It's a one in a
gun,
million.
baby.
Well, it's not a mini. It's a 240 Bravo, which is not a minigun.
Yeah.
But there's so much.
it's still good.
He
It's
picks
still-
up a minigun later.
It's like a 50.
The 240 Bravo is the machine gun that we had on my truck
Yeah.
in Afghanistan, so I know it very well. It's a great machine gun.
It's mounted on his truck right now.
Could I shoot down a helicopter with it? Probably. Is it likely? No.
Well, no, I mean, like
You can't declassify if you have or have not done
Yeah.
that.
from the trailer I saw where he does shoot it down. It didn't look like a military. It was just like a regular.
It's a civilian helicopter
Yeah.
with, and it gets. I guess it gets too close to him.
Yeah,
Russian
I mean, it's
mob.
like
You know,
it's like
Ukrainian-
I was like,
Ukrainian
okay. I mean, right there, I was like, okay. They're
I mean,
doing
all
it
you have
to
to really do is shoot the pilot in
Yeah.
there, like.
They're just doing it to kind of like ramp things up. But I was okay. But I was okay with all that.
Okay,
I was
okay.
okay with it.
Yeah.
You know.
But the stunts of all the helicopter stunts were all done in reality.
Oh yeah.
And they had actual guys drop in from a helicopter onto a moving train.
Oh my god,
which is insane. And yeah, that whole sequence is part of a 21-minute oneer.
oh my.
There's digital stitching, obviously.
Yeah.
No, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
It's one long shot.
It's
Yeah.
one long shot, and it's glorious. And it's
Really?
just
Yes.
it's him. So the story of Extraction 2,
Mm-hmm.
Extraction Boogaloo, is Tyler Rake in the last Extraction. Was shot in the neck and fell off a bridge, and ends up in rehab, like in a coma, and because Hemsey is not. He's not as yoked as he was in that first one. So you got to give him the little Rocky montage where he's like cutting
back.
wood, and he's got to come back and prove it, and then
He's like in isolation in his cabin out in the woods.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
and then
So very commando.
Pretty exactly.
very much so,
Exactly.
and then
He touches. He pets a deer.
Yeah, and his training is like his training montage. His training montage is very
Alyssa
much
Milano's
Rocky.
there for some reason.
Yeah, His training montage is very much Rocky 4.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm already sold.
Yeah.
I'm already
Like
sold.
out-
And
the
then a little cameo by Idris Elba,
Mhm.
Oh,
who
really?
comes in going, "You need to do another extraction."
Yeah. He's like
Is he like
he's
a
like
colonel?
the,
He's like
the Nick
Yeah.
Fury of this
Yeah,
universe.
and it's like he's like, "I'm retired, I can't do it." And he's like, "It's your sister-in-law." It's like, "Oh, yeah, I'm down."
It's Colonel Campbell.
Right.
Yeah.
So exactly, it's Rambo 3.
Yeah.
But so he has to infiltrate a Eastern European prison
Mhm.
to get this family out. That's been the Russian mob boss's wife, who is his sister-in-law from his previous marriage. Because you find out, in the first movie, you find out his kid died of
Yeah.
cancer,
Uh-huh.
and he kind of wasn't there because he had to go extract.
So this is a more personal story. in this
Yeah.
movie.
pretty much
Yeah.
so for the
Okay.
character itself. Yeah.
Okay.
So they're like, your ex-wife has hired you to get her sister out of
Yeah.
this place. Which, by the way, how much money do you think it is for an extraction like that? 'Cause,
So that was I was thinking too because they had
like,
they
I'm
had a
looking at
plane.
the bill. Like,
yeah.
that's a lot of.
They had trucks. They
Yep.
had other people.
Yeah,
They had like red shirt guys who died.
Yeah, like
They had a whole
six-person
train
team.
with armaments on it. Yeah, it was, and they had
I'm
a,
like, this is a pricey
it's
business.
it was like 60. It was like 30 million for everything.
Well, I
you
mean,
know?
they
Yeah.
could steal money from the drug lords and all that.
Yeah, that's
stuff
right.
they
I'm
kill
sure
and-
she's been like the way I thought I reasoned it was like, oh, she's probably been funneling money from him.
Oh yeah,
You know,
yeah.
over the
Yeah.
years.
Yeah,
And that's how she's
'cause they
able to
don't
pay.
know, yeah.
Right. Plus, it's kind of like a personal
Well, even
connection.
he was
so-
like when. He was like gets the family. So he does the extraction.
Right.
Obviously, where
he,
he breaks into
he
prison.
infiltrates this like Eastern European prison.
And it's I thought it was going to be a lot longer of him like breaking
Me
in,
too, yeah.
and him like maybe going undercover
Yeah.
as a guard or something. No, he just goes in guns blazing, grabs the kid, like, all right, get behind me, you little runts,
Yeah.
and and then takes off, and then all hell breaks loose, and there's a giant prison riot
Right.
scene.
Yeah.
And this is the start of the wonder, and it gets more and more intense. It's crazy to one part where literally his arm is on fire,
Yeah.
and he's
Yeah.
punching a guy with a flaming arm.
Yeah.
You're like, that's pretty cool.
Punching a couple guys. So like they get into the courtyard and there's a prison riot in the courtyard
Yeah.
where the prisoners are fighting the guards, and then these two, him and his previous sister-in-law, are trying to get out, and it's just like guys are just randomly attacking them
Yeah,
because it's
and
just
like-
melee. It's just a
Yeah,
melee in the
everybody's-
courtyard.
And he's got
So
like
good,
different
man.
points to get out, and
Right.
then he's like, I gotta go to site B, and like the truck's going around,
Yeah.
and then he's like trying to get through, but he can't. But it's a really great scene,
Yeah.
and then he finally gets the family out, and then they're on the train,
Yeah.
and he's all like, yeah, so there's a cabin you guys can stay at. There's like $1 million in the wall if you need it.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait a second, hold on, you got $1 million just stashed in a safe
Yeah,
house
yeah.
somewhere? What
Yeah.
are you making? What is your salary? Do you have
Well, I mean,
insurance?
it's-
What's going on with this business?
He's got to be he's got to be top notch. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm sure he's charging top bill.
the
And it's
maniac
not-
of Mumbai.
Yeah, but it's very much a modern warfare video game on film.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's so nuts. Like as soon as they get they're constantly running. So once they get out of the prison,
I mean, there's
they're-
literal loot crates where he grabs weapons.
Yeah,
out of.
exactly.
So it's
They're
very
being
much a
chased.
video
Once they
game.
get
My
out of
kind of movie.
once
Yep.
they get out of the prison, they're being chased through the woods in these vehicles with like these guys on motorcycles. They're trying to shoot them down. They get on the train. There's guys that infiltrate the train, like Watson said. There was guys that like dropping from the helicopter onto
Yeah.
the train. He has his partners who were I can't remember her name. He's got two partners, a brother and sister team.
Yeah.
And she gets pretty beat up in this,
Oh,
which is
yeah.
he gets shot. Her brother gets shot a bunch of times.
Yeah.
he eventually
There's a
he
great
doesn't make
fight
it.
scene. So yeah, after the train sequence, they're in a high rise.
Yeah,
It's great. It is like video games. Like it's a level by level kind
Yeah.
of thing where it's like trade and then like high rise
Yeah.
and then so like
car chase.
yeah,
Nice.
the gym.
Yeah.
He beats a bunch of guys up in a gym, which is like a really great.
It's so good, man. There's this part
It's
where
like taking dumbbells to people's faces.
he's
Oh.
fighting this guy next to a treadmill. The treadmill it gets turned on during the fight, and he
Yeah.
body slams a guy's face into the treadmill that's moving at high speed. So the guy goes flying off
Oh, dude.
and lands on the second floor. It's just nuts, man. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a great movie though. It's just
And the final fight scenes even like it's and the thing is
Right.
it ramps up in the movie and then it takes its time with that last fight scene
Yeah.
where it's very personal between Rake and the other guy.
the other mob boss.
Yeah, so
mob boss's brother.
Yeah, they do a really great job of varying the that's the problem I have with John Wick 4 in particular is it feels like the the action beats in that are very much bop 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 bop
Right.
bop 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 bop.
Right,
It's
right,
very
right.
much the same thing. This one has a lot of variety too.
Yeah, and so the other thing I really liked is that the mob bosses, the mob boss who was in the prison, he was killed. He dies in the prison. So
Okay.
his brother now wants revenge,
Yeah.
and he also doesn't care about his niece and his nephew and his sister-in-law. He just wants revenge.
Yeah.
And so if they die in the process, then oh well. So and there's also a good backstory on why the villains are the way they
Yeah.
are. They had like this kind of tough life growing
Okay.
up, and they had to like survive
Yeah.
on the streets of
Armenia.
Armenia, and
Shout out to Armenia.
yeah, they became mob bosses, and so
Taken.
there's a great part where I think it's his uncle, the mob
Yeah.
boss's uncle, is like who helped raise these guys.
Wow.
At one point, he's like, "What are you doing here? Like we've sacrificed way too much here.
Mm-hmm.
Like we've lost a lot of people, a lot of good people. Like what are you doing? Like we should just give up. Like just
they're
cut our
they're
losses."
Albanian, right?
Yeah, they're Albanian.
That was
Like
it.
we just that's another thing you kind of don't see, like especially like in John Wick and
Yeah.
other action movies, which you don't really expect it to, and if they don't happen, it doesn't happen. That's fine. But like sometimes I do when I'm watching these action movies, it's like, wouldn't somebody tell like the main villain like,
Right.
what are you doing, dude? Like we've lost a lot of people here.
We've been on a good
like
streak.
yeah,
and you're
we've
screwing this up.
sacrificed a lot. Like
Yeah.
you need to stop. But like this is enough, And
then he shoots the guy.
He shoots, of course. He
Yeah.
shoots
Yeah,
his
that's the
his
next
own
bit.
uncle. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so
Can't
even the
bring
uncle's like,
reason to a gunfight.
he's like, I always thought I'd get a bullet. I didn't think it was from you, or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a great action. It's just it's got heart. It's got a good backstory. It's got decent acting, and I
We
miss
got
these.
greenlit for a sequel. We're gonna have
Yeah, yeah.
Extraction.
Oh
3
yeah, of
now.
course. We'll have another. We'll have 3 and 4
Well,
for sure.
What's amazing to me is that the Russo brothers with the first Extraction and the second Extraction, these are so good, people love them.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And then there's movies with the Gray Man and
Cherry.
the Cherry, and then something Bridge with Chadwick Boseman. What was that one? It was like some.
Oh yeah, I know. He's like a DC cop or something like that.
New York cop,
New
or
York,
something like that.
Yeah,
Remember
yeah.
that one.
It was like right after Endgame and,
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So, but like those weren't that great, and like there's something missing from them. But for some reason, these two movies, everybody's like, these are great.
Well,
These are-
I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that they're just going back to old school like action movies,
Well,
that have heart.
I mean, I felt there was
Simple story. I
it's
mean,
just very simple storyline. Yeah, it's also you have someone who's massive like Hemsworth,
yeah.
just like barreling through people, and it's believable. It's like, yeah, I wouldn't want to fight Hemsworth.
Right.
Yeah.
He seems like a big dude who, if he hits you once, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
And that's
And
what
he
happens
moves,
in these movies.
man. In this,
Yeah.
he can move. Like he's big, but he's also
Right.
not like lumbering. Like you
Exactly.
see Arnold in a fight. Schwarzenegger's like in the 80s.
Ah!
It's
Yeah.
just a big lumbering guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Hemsworth, he's like a cat.
Yeah, he can definitely move. And it seems like this is more of what he wanted to play and what he probably thought he would play in Thor.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is like more of a serious kind of like action kind of
and they give
centered
him some
star.
serious
Right.
drama beats as well with
Yeah.
the stuff when you talking about.
And we were just talking about Thor: Love and Thunder, how
Yeah.
they really did that character bad by just making him a clown.
Yeah.
And so I think Hemsworth he just recently came out and said there's way too much joking in that last movie.
Yeah.
I think he was very
I
disappointed
personally thought there
in how
was
the
too much in
character went.
Ragnarok, but I understand
Yeah, exactly.
people like that one. so.
Right, yeah. But I mean, I think that Hemsworth has said he hasn't said it, but I think he personally feels that he's been let down by how Thor was where
Yeah.
he was led
Right.
Yeah.
to be like the butt of the joke of that universe, basically.
Yeah.
So I think now he's kind of making it up, and he's in Extraction. It's just him playing a serious guy who's a serious contender that can really hurt people, but isn't Thor. He can be hurt,
Right.
and then there's plenty of times in the movie where he's
he gets
barely
stabbed.
a lot.
bunch.
In the first movie, he's towards the end. It looks like he's about to die.
Yeah.
Because he's just like he's on his last leg.
Yeah.
I mean, there's like in the Russos, the Gray Man, which it was adapted from a book,
Right.
and there were some good sequences in it, and I really like the dynamic of
Gosling.
and then Chris Evans is the bad guy, and he plays a good bad guy.
Chris
But
Evans
the
was
thing
having
is-
a blast.
But the thing is, there's something missing in that movie that just doesn't like. Maybe the beats aren't as good as obviously the Extraction movies because it's
Yeah.
always moving.
Mm-hmm.
And The Gray Man's more of a spy thriller.
Right.
So you do have those high octane action moments, but it's just like it's very bland.
I thought it was weird when I saw it with you. You were just saying, "Kiss him, kiss him, kiss
I know,
him."
right? But I mean, Ana de Armas is in it too, and it's just like you have all these big,
and you
big
went,
names,
boo.
and I was like, oh no, she's getting in the way of their bromance.
Yeah, take those shirts off and kiss.
But no, I think. Also, it wasn't as violent as the Extraction one, so maybe it needed that more like
they go
bloody,
hard in the Extraction ones.
Yeah,
so,
very much so.
Maybe that was it. Maybe they were just missing.
I also thought it was kind of sad how we could have. I was hoping that maybe like Black Widow could have gone. Imagine blending Black Widow and Extraction, because it's Eastern European, you know,
Yeah.
and we see that family going through, say, like a prison scene, like we saw in Extraction,
Right.
But again, it's your typical Marvel, just nonsense.
It's gotta be PG.
Everything looks pretty and everything.
See, that's the
and
problem.
she smashes her head on a desk to blunt her smell. Come on, you know.
I mean,
I forgot about that.
Come on.
That's the problem. Like the Marvel movies under Disney, they gotta get the kids in there, and it's gotta be a more PG movie. So it's not gonna be what we want it to be. Sadly. I mean, there are some movies that can do that. Which Winter Soldier did it well.
Oh, the hand-to-hand combat.
I'm sure, like a little kid probably didn't understand everything about that movie.
It didn't matter.
But no, I mean, yeah, it's these movies are something that you should be able to revisit and like, oh, I missed this, and like, you know.
Well, that's why I'm liking.
Yeah, I mean, I get that, but I don't 100% agree.
Yeah,
because it's like. Action movies back in the day didn't really worry about kids, and they made phenomenally well.
I mean, that's true.
And because like Terminator, Predator 2. I mean, Terminator 2. So it's like those weren't meant for kids, but kids did see them.
But they still had toy lines.
They still had toy lines.
Yes.
Weird. Which is but
I had RoboCop toys. Yeah. And I'm like, why?
Yeah, exactly. But they knew how to. But they were super violent, and we probably shouldn't have been watching them, but we did, and we turned out just fine, motherfucker. We turned out just fine.
Well, hey.
Stop trying to protect your kids. The world's not going to protect them.
Well, actually, since we watched it on basic when they came on TV and it's edited, so we did kind of get a PG version.
I watched it on cable. They were.
We're probably
Mr.
some of the
Fancy had cable over here.
Oh no, I did.
Actually, at HBO.
I did not. I watched them at my mom's boss's house. Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah, he had cable.
Yeah, no, I did have cable.
Oh my god! You know, I was hanging with Richie Rich over here.
Well, no, my parents.
Boo this man.
My parents worked under AT&T, in Lucent Technologies. You know what I mean?
There you
so
go.
we had the new boxes.
We got 4
the
channels.
Like, what? I don't have to go up to the TV and turn the
4 channels.
4 channels.
That's what I had growing up.
Yeah,
you didn't have
BBC 1, BBC 2. ITV channel 4.
I had 13 channels 2 through 13.
Yeah, no, I had that at first, and then one day we had this
got
black
fancy.
box.
Yeah,
and then I had to. We had the antenna where I had to is it? Can you see it? Can you
sure
see?
You did, Chad.
No,
sure
we did, and then we finally got this cable box thing, and then. Then it was like, oh man, goes up to number 99.
We have a Reading Rainbow's IM, and every single time someone shares an old toy that we all wish we had, him and another bro always like, I had that as a kid, and we're like, you son of a bitch, Chad.
See, the problem is I didn't do stuff, and so I couldn't get in trouble. So
that's what you're classically called an indoor kid.
Yeah. I could also say latchkey in a sense.
Yeah. Well, that's all of us. That's all of us.
Parents at work, and then I'm at home, but I mean, technically, whatever. But
we don't have to call child services. We're okay.
But no, I'd play outside, but you get bored outside, right? So,
not when you got the new Super Soaker.
I mean, well, yeah, until you try and turn that into a flamethrower. I had the backpack. The 3000.
Wow.
Chad.
Oh my god.
One up everyone
because I was such a good,
I had the 50.
I was such a good kid. I didn't get in trouble. I did good. I did good in school still, and that was elementary school. So it was just like, I got a plus.
Got a participation award.
So I would only ask for things on my birthday or Christmas. So I really didn't ask for it otherwise. Maybe if we were in a store, I'd be like, oh, I want that, but I'd save up because I got paid to do chores. Oh. And I know you didn't.
I did not.
I know you didn't.
My
got the
payment
privilege.
was I got a house over me and I got to eat. Yeah.
I got the privilege to survive.
Yes, exactly. That was my payment. Yeah.
And that's why I'm worse off today because I was spoiled. So kids, don't expect anything from your parents.
That's a good message, I guess.
If the show has a message, that's the message.
That's the message.
All you people that are probably our age that are listening to this, if you're having kids, don't give them anything they want.
That's
because
right.
they're gonna end up like me.
Yeah, damn it, right. So yeah, Extraction 2. It was we highly recommend it.
Oh,
Chad,
yeah.
you should watch it.
Great
Yeah, no,
movie.
It's definitely a callback to just the typical old
Yeah.
90s, 80s action movie. It's great.
Okay.
I love it. I miss those kind of movies.
Now I do.
and I'm
want-
glad that they're coming back. They are coming
No,
back.
they are.
They are coming back. Sishu,
Yeah.
you were just talking,
Violent Night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they're coming back. I love it.
Cocaine Bear at some,
Cocaine Bear
kinda.
to an extent.
Yeah,
Yeah, for sure.
like
yeah.
the B movie,
Yeah.
monster movie type.
Yeah.
I think that's another thing studios are learning is that they can invest $40 million
Right.
into a movie.
I mean, we
Or,
got
or
Meg-
even 20. You know?
right.
We got Meg 2
Yeah.
coming out.
Yeah,
where it's
like
just-
you
Right.
don't need to spend $200 million
no.
Right.
per movie, and then like
Yeah.
it's not doing as well as projected because
Yeah.
it's projected value.
Yeah.
You know, they're like, well, we spent $200 million. Of course, it's going to make $1 billion.
Right.
You know, like if The Flash was half the price, it would be a hit.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, because so they're spending $250 for the actual budget, another $100 million for marketing.
Yeah.
So your break-even point is $400 million.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, come on.
You're
so,
setting yourself
yeah.
up.
But some of these movies, they're making it. You know, I think how much was Violent Night? I think it was like $20 million.
Yeah.
Something like
You know,
that, yeah.
and it cleared something like 70.
Yeah.
And
that's
they
the
probably
same with
spent. They probably spent. Yeah, they probably
Blumhouse movies.
They probably spent $10 million on marketing, so they made $20-30 million right off
Yeah.
the bat, and they're
Right.
gonna make another one. So just I mean,
It's
I love
an
the studios
easy-
are putting these they're making these good small movies that are simple, and they're making good returns on them. So
I did want to ask about Extraction 2, though, before we move on. The like one-on-one fights, was there a lot of cuts in the movement, like kind of close up?
No, there's not.
There's,
Okay.
there's a lot of good
Yeah.
choreography. Fight choreography is great
Okay.
in this.
Yeah.
And I think Hemsworth said he learned something like 2,000 different. Like through the course of the movie, he does like 2,000 moves.
Oh, nice.
Like in different sequences and stuff.
Because
There's
like
a lot.
Yeah.
the Raid and Raid 2 spoiled me in that
Right.
department. So
I mean, that's
watching-
a high bar.
No,
Right.
it is. But I try to like step back when I watch like an American action movie
Yeah.
because I know I'm not going to get the same.
Yeah,
quality.
even when those guys showed up in like John
Oh.
Wick, I'm like, oh, it's great they're in here, but they're really holding back.
No,
Right,
yeah, they are.
right,
Yeah.
They've got to keep up.
Especially with Uko, the lead in the Raid movies. He appears in a couple movies now as like villains. I'm like, all
Yeah.
right, guy. I was like, I know you're gonna just cut this poorly, and
Right.
he can actually
Is he
probably
in Mortal Kombat?
no, but I
So
wish
one
he
of the
was.
guys in Mortal Kombat. I thought one of them was playing Scorpion or something. Not Scorpion.
No. Oh yeah,
Sub-Zero.
yeah.
Sub-Zero,
Sub-Zero. Yeah,
yeah.
Sub-Zero.
Is he?
Yeah.
Which,
Oh,
by the
okay.
way,
Wow.
they just released a picture of the cast for
Cast.
2 with Carl Urban as Johnny Cage.
Yeah.
Speaking of Carl, I was just thinking of Carl Urban. When are we going to get a Judge Dredd 2 movie?
He's been a champion for that for the longest
Yeah.
Oh, my
time, but
God.
unfortunately, Dredd yet again it's a cult hit,
Mm-hmm.
and it didn't cost a lot of money.
No.
But it didn't. I think it broke even, but just
Yeah.
barely.
Yeah, but that was because people were more, I think, accustomed to like the
Right.
larger budget superhero
Yeah,
movies
yeah,
at the time, And
Yeah.
they're like Judge Dredd, yeah, I kind of know him, but wasn't that Sylvester Stallone thing? A couple years,
Right.
remember?
Yeah.
Well,
So I think if they and also they didn't put the marketing into it. Is what
No,
I've
they
read.
really
No.
didn't.
So I think if they put the marketing into it and they went back to, hey, this is just another cut and dry action movie, I think it'd do really well.
Well, I also think I don't know what the movie was at the time, but I think it was overshadowed by a bigger movie.
Oh, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
I think it was.
At the time when it was
Yeah,
released.
Yeah.
I want to say because I think it was
Because
2012.
I didn't even know about it until it was on
Yeah.
Blu-ray. I was like, oh, what?
I think it was overshadowed by Avengers because I think it was 2012.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh.
pretty sure it came out 2012.
Possibly, yeah. Marvel probably
yeah.
would have been around.
Yeah,
But yeah.
because
no.
I didn't even watch it until I didn't watch it until it hit streaming.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I was like, what is this? They made another Judge Dredd movie. I kind of
Yeah.
heard about this, and I was like, oh
Yeah,
shit.
2012. You're on the money.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, so it was overshadowed by Avengers.
Avengers?
Yep.
Ultron or the first Avengers?
No, the first one.
Oh,
It
shit.
came out September 21st, 2012. So
When did Avengers
Avengers
come
came out in May.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So
But September, not a great place to
Yeah.
drop.
No, yeah,
it's
that's also not the
'cause
best.
it's not summer. Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
I
End
did
of
see it
summer.
in theaters because
Yeah.
I'm dreadhead too. But
Yeah. You did see it?
I did see it, and
Okay.
those like slow mo sequences
Yeah. Oh, so good.
looked
Oh yeah.
So
amazing,
good, yeah.
amazing on the big screen. So
Yeah.
I was glad I did see it. But
When you were talking about the raid, it's very raid inspired.
Yeah.
Very raid inspired. Oh, it's so good. It's such a good movie. And then we watched a clip of Ben Mendelsohn talking about Doctor Doom.
yeah, Mendo.
Speaking of,
Speaking of Secret Invasion, which
Oh,
just
yeah.
came out.
Yep. Have you guys watched any of that?
I've saw the first episode, and the second episode just dropped.
Yeah, I
haven't
caught
watched
part
any
of the
of it.
first episode. I kind of, I mean, maybe I'll keep watching just to see.
I feel very Winter Soldier vibes from it,
Yeah.
which I'm liking.
It just feels like, it should be bigger, like a bigger
Right.
story or feel or gravitas. To
Yeah.
it or something. But
I get what they're going with because this is like, it's kind of counterterrorism kind of thing, and who can you trust, right?
True.
Because
Mm-hmm.
anyone could be a Skrull,
Right.
and they start the first episode with a big Skrull reveal. I'm not going to spoil it here.
yeah,
But it definitely shows like, okay, we got to keep. I get the reasoning why they keep it small, because it's like, okay, it's Fury,
yeah,
and he really doesn't know who he can talk to about this,
Okay.
right? And you get a different take on Fury. Fury in this is like a broken man, and he talks about like why he's been off world, because he's been in the space station in Saber
yeah.
since the blip, and you kind of hear why, like his reasoning behind not being on the planet,
Okay.
like why he seems a little bit off his game, and so I'm excited to see where it goes. I mean, Mendo is, I love me some Ben Mendelsohn.
Oh, yeah.
Me too, man. Me too.
He was great in Star Wars as Krennic.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And I liked him in Captain Marvel. Like I was like, okay, I get like
No.
it was an interesting reveal of like this guy who's played really great villains,
Right.
Yeah.
kind of being like the softer side of the Skrull.
Right.
So and he's a great actor. And then just doing an interview, came out and just basically schooled the world on Doctor Doom.
Oh, so
Oh,
good.
yeah.
And just layeth the smacketh
Yeah.
down.
If you haven't seen the clip we're talking about, just check it out on YouTube.
We'll
Yeah.
post it on our story.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, because he loves this character.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which
Crazy.
I didn't even know about. I was like,
Yeah.
where did he come out with this?
Well,
Yeah.
he's a big
Yeah.
geek. Like,
Yeah.
I forget. I think it was when he was doing Ready Player One. People or his cast members
Right.
were saying
Yeah.
He's great in that.
He,
too.
Yeah, he
he
is.
just memorizes the lines that he has to do, but he's always like playing video games in his trailer or something.
I've
like
heard that. I heard he's a big
Mm.
gamer.
And I was
yeah.
like,
Yeah,
no, that
yeah,
makes
me
sense.
too.
He's a big nerd. So
yeah.
So he gives a good reasoning why Doctor
Yeah,
Doom is
he
like one of the
gets
best
character
villains.
of like why this guy is doing the way the things he does. That this character has been disfigured and scarred, and like, well, if I can't have a good life, you can't have a good
Right.
life, and he's blaming the world for his troubles, and he's going to create this perfect society in Latveria and everything.
Right.
And it's so beautifully done.
Yeah.
Like his little like it's less than a minute. His little breakdown of
Yeah,
the character.
and he's super passionate about
yeah,
it.
and I'm just like, yeah, absolutely. I
He's
think
like,
all
"Give
of
me the
us were
mask."
like,
yeah.
or just like put him in the suit, man. Like we know he can do accents.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
he can.
And we know he's a great actor.
Yeah. And as Doom, do you need to see his face?
Yeah,
Not really.
exactly. Yeah.
You
and
know?
well, I was even saying since he's a Skrull, technically he could probably stole that face from.
Right, exactly.
random,
yeah,
you know,
he saw
person.
an article or
Mm.
something. Yeah,
But I think he would be a great Doom. Although, it really depends on how the rest of this phase goes for
Yeah.
Marvel. Because
well, I was trying to think of other like Eastern European actors that
Yeah.
could be a good fit for Doom, and obviously the big a lot of people online really like the idea of the guy who played Jamie Lannister
oh yeah,
as Doom.
Mm.
I
That'd be
even
interesting.
saw like Javier Bardem. As
yeah.
Doom.
I was
that'd be-
thinking,
oh.
He's got the intensity.
yeah,
Yeah, but after watching Ben Mendelsohn, I was like, no, I want
Yeah.
him. I want him.
yeah.
Yeah, and I love how he kind of like threw shade on the Fantastic Four too. He's like, who cares about the Fantastic?
Yeah.
Flame on, who cares? So
Yeah.
I was like,
He's
yes,
down. Yeah.
yes, I love it. Yeah, I mean, I was really excited to see that. I hope he gets what he wants. You know.
Yeah.
Fortunately, we're not going to hear a lot about what's coming out.
Right.
I jump into the Comic-Con news.
Yes.
That we got.
Yes, please.
Oh yeah.
So San Diego Comic-Con, for those uninitiated don't know, it's been for at least past 20 years,
20,
a lot of studios
20, yeah.
have been showing up, and that's when they kind of show off, well, this is the next wave's coming out, this could be the next thing. And this year, I mean, it was they got hit pretty hard with multiple studios backing out for obvious reasons. Obviously, the writer's strike had a lot to do with it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Actor strike possibly on the horizon. So they're not going to get talent to come to these events.
Yeah.
So you had Disney pull out of SDCC. So you've got no Marvel. You have no Star Wars announcements. No Pixar announcements. Netflix pulled out, so no Netflix announcements. No HBO announcements. I believe I got the list right here.
I wonder though if Disney pulled out more so for the reason of the Jonathan Majors fiasco, because they don't know how to continue now.
It's still ongoing.
So they're using the strike as a reason.
It's definitely not helping them.
No.
Yeah. Apparently, some evidence did come to light that can get him. Get the charges dropped, but we don't know. It's still an ongoing case. But yes. So Sony, Netflix, HBO, and Universal, and Disney have all dropped out of San Diego Comic-Con. That does leave Warner Brothers and I think Paramount are the only two studios that are in attendance.
Interesting.
So, I mean, it would be a good thing for James Gunn to get out there.
Yeah.
And kind of do a little damage control. But I don't know. I mean, or maybe do some Aquaman stuff, like try to pump that movie up.
True.
Because that's coming out at the end of the year. And Paramount, I mean, look, maybe they can talk more about the next Transformers film. I don't know what else they really have going on.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, is Barbie under Paramount?
No, that's
It's Universal, isn't it?
Because they have Hasbro, right? Don't they?
Yeah.
Or does Hasbro have Paramount?
I thought it was Universal.
No, it's Hasbro Studios. So yeah, it probably is. No, because Oppenheimer is Universal.
Right.
So they wouldn't be releasing two of their big movies at the same time.
True.
Let me check. Talk amongst yourselves.
What do you guys think? What do you guys think about San Diego Comic-Con just in general losing some of its power?
I mean, I don't think it's such a big deal because nowadays a lot of like even with the video game industry, they don't all go to E3 anymore.
Right.
They just do their own little thing. So I mean, I could see production companies doing that in the future if they wanted. Like, oh, Paramount's going to have their own showcase.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've never been to San Diego Comic-Con, but like you could usually see those panels online a week or so after, and like you'll get. I mean, so technically you don't really have to be there.
Yeah, I've never been able to get tickets for it. So
yeah, I mean, like if anything, I would go mainly for the floor to buy stuff and
exactly,
figures and all the collectibles.
Well, Chad, Barbie is Warner Brothers.
Oh yeah,
you should be advertising it more.
Oh, hey, okay, there you go.
Hey, Barbie coming this July, opposite of Oppenheimer, where you'll get two bombs on the Barbie. I mean, well, no, Barbie will have her bombs. You
come on, Barbie, let's go bomb.
No, I mean, like she's got her bombs, and then Oppenheimer's got their bombs. So, so her bombs and their bombs.
We're not stopping. We're just letting
we're just letting you go.
Just digging a bigger hole.
The Oppenheimer bombs are nuclear, and her bombs are not nuclear.
Nuclear,
or they're jigglier. I don't
Wow.
know. See,
Wow.
I don't know. I didn't have I didn't have a place to go to.
All right.
This is all top of the dome.
Oh yeah, we
guys.
can tell. We can tell.
Top of the dome.
Sorry.
This is not
we can tell.
scripted.
Do you think this is going to be a permanent thing with Comic-Con?
I don't know. I don't know if this is a trend or if this is just a one-off kind of thing.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, a lot of people are, you know, there's been championing the idea of like Comic-Con should be for comics,
Right.
you know, again.
Yeah.
And because it really, you know, I remember going, I used to go quite often.
Well,
back when it
the
was-
small ones we go to now is that.
Yes.
Yeah.
The small
And
ones
they're
are
fun.
great.
They're still fun.
Yeah, WonderCon and everything, like they're great. And San Diego, it is this whole different feel though. Like last time I was there was 2015, and before then, you know, it was really the Twilight movies kind of came in the early 2000s, whenever those movies came out, and like 2008. I remember that was the big shift.
2008 AD.
Yeah, and I just feel like it became more of a marketing place for movies and stuff
Yeah.
like that after
Yeah.
that. But and like you used to be able to just walk around. You used to get tickets like a weekend before. It was no big deal, you know. And then now it's like if you're not on the wait list.
Yeah.
So hopefully
It's
that's
yeah.
gonna kind of dissuade people from showing up, and more of those tickets will become available. Prices
Yeah.
will drop because
It's become
demand
very
will be as
elitist.
high. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Very
exactly.
much so.
Yeah, you have to be a certain someone or be on a
Yeah.
certain list or get into certain parties. It's
Right.
like, yeah, at that point, it's like, who
Yeah,
wants to deal with
exactly.
that?
I mean, that's why I've never been able to get tickets, but seeing what it's become over the last couple of years, I'm like, it
Yeah.
doesn't seem like it's a place that I would be able to like really enjoy myself that much because it's such, and it's first of all, it's super crowded.
Yes.
And secondly, and yeah, like you said, unless you're a certain someone, you're not gonna be able to get into many things anyway.
Well, and
so.
Chad's right with like it used to be you wanted to be the person in the room because of the
Right.
exclusives and stuff, but now it's like every trailer gets dropped online.
yeah,
You know, even the exclusive clips that they get, someone's leaking them. You know, like
Yeah.
or panels are being fully taped and shown. Now.
yeah,
So, and you know, so it does take away the allure. It takes away the reason to be in the room.
right,
You know, and like, you know, also like people that go to these panels, you know, they'll go in the morning. They'll stop at 10 a.m. to be in a panel and just sit there
yeah.
the entire day.
Entire day, yeah.
You know, and you're
I
just like,
can't,
I mean,
yeah.
it's not fun.
It's not just to sit in a room
Yeah.
to hear somebody talk about something that's going to be released
You know,
just in 20 minutes after that panel.
Right,
It's
and
like,
you know exactly how it's going to go. The cast comes
Right,
out, they'll
yeah.
wave, they'll be like,
Yeah.
I'm a big nerd too.
Yeah, and then
they'll
people
walk
ask the
off
same
and-
questions like, "What was your experience on the set?"
Right.
"Oh, I had a great time." You
And
know,
then there'll
it's-
be the one awkward question because like the super nerd will just be
Yeah.
like, you know, in that episode specifically on this matter that you.
in issue number 45
Yeah,
of yeah.
I know we're into the nerd and we're making fun of the nerd, but no.
Suck it, our core audience.
Yeah.
But no, it's always I always kind of like cringe when that happens.
You hear those questions, the Q&As, you go,
Yeah.
oh, man.
Or if it's like some people aren't that interested in it and no one's raising their hand and it's just that much more
Yeah.
awkward. Like, nope, nobody, no.
We've been to
I
a
love
few
it
of
when the
those
panels like kind of
panels.
look at when they get an awkward question, they kind of look around at each other
Yeah.
and like, "Oh, to who wants to take this?" You know?
Yeah.
yeah.
But I
Kit
you think-
Mendelsohn out. He'll talk about Dr.
Yeah.
Doom
Yeah,
for a
no,
while.
Yeah.
well, I think though, like for me, going down there, I would be mainly going for an exclusive figure or something that
Yeah,
because like
that's
a
right.
lot of
Even
people.
those now you can get online. I just
Well-
ordered my Kino
Well,
from
that's
Ninja Turtles 2 online.
That's the thing, though. Like, I hopped on just to see, and it was already sold out. Like by the time it said 10 o'clock, and I was like,
Ugh.
"What the?" It was 50. It was like 9:50, and then just refreshing, and I was like, "Oh, that's all."
And it
sold
was
out."
all gone?
It was
Oh.
all gone. So I was
Oh,
just
wow.
like, "There's no chance
Gotta
now."
be fast with those fingers.
Well, no, I had it all set up. I was all ready to go, but I wasn't gonna get anything. I just wanted to see what was available.
Right.
But like, I was actually thinking about getting the Alf Comic Con.
That's a great figure, yeah.
But it was sold out so quick. I was like, oh man.
Yeah.
And Mondo and like NECA would be the two booths I'd be like going down
Right.
there
Yeah.
for specifically because I do collect stuff from both of them. So it'd just be like I'd have my specific spots.
Yeah.
And then like I would just leave and like hang around San Diego because San Diego also has pop-ups that
That's
are
the
around.
beauty
So-
thing about San Diego Comic Con. Like, and if you guys wanted to go and experience some of it, You don't have to buy the convention tickets. There's so many pop-ups.
Yeah.
That entire area, the Gaslight District area that's on there.
I'm mad I missed the Judge Dredd Taco Bell
Yeah.
thing they did.
What did they do?
Demolition Man. Demolition Man.
Oh.
Taco Bell was like this last man standing
Yeah.
of fast food and fine dining. And they had
At
a Taco Bell experience of like the 3 shells. And everything.
No way. Oh, that's
and I was
great.
like, oh man, I missed it.
That's
But
cool.
Yeah. So hopefully that stuff still goes. I remember.
I'm sure it will.
When I was there.
Because there's still
like,
going to be a huge turnout.
Yeah. Like the Nerdist took over like the Petco stadium there. And they had a whole bunch of nerdy stuff there. The museums are usually open with a bunch of nerdy stuff too.
Yeah,
That's cool.
So it is. You could do a lot more down there, even if you don't have a ticket to the
That's
con.
dope.
Yeah.
That's cool.
But just it's super pricey to get a hotel room.
Buy your stuff, look around, see if any other extra stuff you might want to pick
Yeah.
up, and then just knock off.
And if anyone is going this year, Chad would love an Alf.
Yes.
I would love an Alf figure.
Get Chad and Alf.
I mean, I know the regular Alf one is like at Target and all that. I could get
this
easily.
one comes with a camcorder.
But it comes with, and I would like a nice cat to go with my Alf figure. I don't know.
A nice Garfield.
It's Alf. It's not Garfield. Okay.
I wanted to bring up Walking Dead: Dead City, which is the latest Walking Dead spinoff. So I just watched. They just dropped the last 2 episodes on AMC Plus. So I watched them. And for those of you who don't know, Walking Dead: Dead City is the spinoff of Maggie and Negan. Well, when I first heard about this, that's what I thought too, right? So it's a new spinoff of Negan and Maggie, Maggie Rhee, who is one of the original characters. Jeffrey Dean Morgan, exactly, and Lauren Cohen.
Yes.
So who
are Martha and Thomas Wayne in Batman vs Superman? So that's how I played in my head.
There you go.
They're Batman's parents living in
exactly. And so this spinoff is supposed to have Maggie and Negan, who was one of the villains from the original Walking Dead. He was also in the comic book. Go to Manhattan, New York, because another villain has taken Maggie's son hostage and has gone to Manhattan, and she has chased him from, I believe they're in Virginia in the show. Technically, they film in Atlanta, but they're supposed to be in Virginia. And she chased him from Virginia to New York, and she meets up with Negan, who has also, after the events of the last Walking Dead, the Walking Dead show has left technically Virginia and headed to New York, and they meet up there. So
they have a nice dinner.
Yeah, exactly. So it's an interesting take on the show because the reason I am watching this is because I have been a Walking Dead fan since it was a comic book. When Robert Kirkman's original comic book came out, I think in 2003, I picked up one of the first few series, and I've followed it ever since. In 2010, when they announced that it was going to be a series, written and directed by Frank Darabont, who's a great director. I mean, my God. And for everybody who saw like the first 4 seasons of The Walking Dead, I think he only did the first 2 seasons. But if you watch the first 4 or 5 seasons of Walking Dead, it's mastered for full TV. It's so good.
Too bad it went for another 5 seasons.
Yeah, so it kind of lost its way. It lost its way about the 6th, 7th season, where it's kind of like it kind of turned into the same thing. Now it went back to a different showrunner towards the end, and she kind of brought it back online. So it
got better.
Yeah, it got a little better. Now I stuck it out for the entire series until season 7, 8, whatever it was. So I stuck it out. I watched it because I already was too invested in it. So I'm like, the hell with it, I'm watching it.
Couldn't get enough Daryl.
Exactly.
I watched 10 seasons of Smallville, so I get what you're saying.
Exactly.
No.
Once you're invested in something, yeah.
I watched all of Gotham, so I get it.
Wow, that's commitment.
It was it was more of a hate watch, but
that's commitment. That's commitment. That's more commitment.
Flogging yourself while you're watching.
Yeah, like, why? Yeah. But Negan was in the comic book series, originally appeared in the comic book series, and then he was a villain in the TV show, and he was leader of what's called the Saviors, who were a different group that met up with Rick's people. In the comic book, he also kills Glenn, who is a huge part of the original series, the original cast on the TV show as well.
Stephen Young.
Stephen Young, who was Maggie's husband in the series and the father of her child.
That's what I was going to ask. Is this Glenn's baby?
This is Glenn's baby. Herschel, played by Logan Kim, who was from...
Oh, they named her Herschel.
Yeah, after her father.
Yeah.
Played by Logan Kim, who was from Ghostbusters.
Is the kid born in the original series, Walking Dead?
Yes, he was. He was born. Yeah, so they kind of aged him up a little bit.
Okay.
So they don't really explain
There's a time jump, right?
They don't really explain how much of a time jump, but it seems it's been at least a year or so.
Okay.
Maybe 2. But there is a bit of a time jump. Now the problem is, I'll get to why the time jumps are an issue in this show, but whatever. But so Ryan, let me finish Walking Dead, Dead City. So the dynamic between the two characters is interesting because Negan was locked up for his crimes. He beat Glenn to death just to prove a point, just to show I am in charge of the saviors, and you guys will give me half of what you got, and you're gonna like it. And so he had to kill somebody within Rick's group, and then he killed the guy who plays Lex Luthor,
Abraham.
Abraham, beat him to death, and then Darrow punches Negan. He's like, "Oh, see, that shit's not gonna fly." So he has to kill another one, and he chooses Glenn, beats him to death with a bat in the comic book and the TV series. Yeah, Darrow is to blame because he jumped the gun. And so Negan is eventually defeated, and he's locked up for about 6 years within this community's prison. And now the entire last 2 seasons of The Walking Dead were his kind of like arc as a character, realizing that what he did was wrong and kind of being a reformed person.
But Kylo Random?
In a way, except that he actually has a conclusion and an arc as opposed to
Was there a 6-year time jump for that or no?
There was pretty much.
There was?
Pretty much there was a 6-year time jump.
Okay.
So he's been locked. So within the Walking Dead TV show, he was locked up for about 6 years, and he learned to kind of reform himself, and he has remorse for what he has done in the past, leading the saviors and wreaking so much havoc on other survivors, and then killing Glenn. So now these two, Maggie has not yet. In the last episode of Walking Dead, she kind of, in a way, almost forgave him. He helped the group out so much with the last group that they had to fight.
Whisperers or something like that?
Part of the Whisperers, but he also helped in other ways, help the community out. Mm-hmm. So she, in a way, didn't forgive him, but learned to live with him and said, "I will." He
had to teach T-ball to the kids.
Yeah, exactly. So she said, "I'm not going to kill you, but I can't really forgive you for what you've done, obviously."
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So now these two characters are in a show together, and it's them having to trust each other. It actually wasn't terrible. So they have to learn to trust each other because Maggie says, "You have to help me get my son back, who has been taken by these people, who used to be one of Negan's old henchmen." Right, we never saw him in the show, but he apparently was around. Yeah, he was around prior to the TV show, and they call him the Croat. I guess it's like Croatian.
Yeah.
And he's played by Zelch. I'm gonna mess this name up. Zeljko Ivanek, who's done a bunch of stuff. I'm sure you. So
he was in the first season of 24.
Exactly. Yeah. He's done a bunch of stuff. He's pretty good. He's a pretty
very
good
character actor.
Yeah, very character actor. So it's an interesting dynamic because these two characters now have to work together, even though they don't really trust each other. Maggie especially cannot get over the fact that Negan has killed her husband, and she says there's a point where Negan says, "Why should I help you? What is I'm trying to control my own life here now," and she says, "Well, because you," and he stops. "Oh, because I owe you," he says. He stops her because she's used that against him a lot.
Yeah,
and she's like, "Yeah, you basically do. You killed my husband and the father of you killed the father of the child who's been taken."
Right.
So now they're in New York, and it's, I don't know how much they shot in New York. I doubt they did. They're probably still in Georgia. It's definitely a lot of CGI with New York being destroyed, Manhattan itself being destroyed. I was going to say,
it's a little different than The Walking Dead, where it was just a field for most of the
Well, exactly. So, and that's why the show is a little, it kind of pulled me in a little bit because I was like, okay, they've done cities before, right? In Walking Dead, which is like these
Atlanta and stuff
Atlanta,
like that.
I think they did parts of Virginia.
Did they do Washington or no?
They saw Washington, but they never went into it.
Oh, they didn't?
Yeah, I think they saw it from like a distance or something.
They're like, never mind.
Yeah. But they've never done such an urbanized, heavily...
Which is zombie politicians just running around.
in suits. They've never done a heavily urbanized version of for a long period of time.
Right.
And so, of course, this faces new challenges. They go in there at night, and there's a part where they make a noise, and because zombies are still in the buildings surrounding them, these high-rise buildings surrounding them, you just see zombies just falling out of the windows. Creative. Just so they're just like it's a rain of just dead bodies coming down on because they heard the noise down in the street 40 floors below. Yeah. So they're just walking out of these windows, and what is that? As zombies do.
Now, in terms of budget, does this feel like a big budget show? I feel like the budget of the show kept decreasing every season.
It did, and then they added some towards the end of it. Mm-hmm. There was definitely a part where, especially during the Savior War, speaking of Negan, where I don't know what the hell they again, you're talking about the budget being cut. There was a part where one of the characters, Carol, was firing a rifle, and I guess maybe they're just like, we don't have enough money for blanks.
Right.
So she's firing the rifle, and you see the end of the rifle, like muzzle flashing, but there's like no shells falling out of it. Whereas in previous episodes, like there was a battle over the prison at one point. Yeah. In season 3, there was this huge prison battle. Yeah. And there you actually see the characters firing their weapons, and you see the shells flying out of it.
I thought it was weird when they had the actors going pew 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 pew.
So that's not far off, because in that same season that I'm talking about, with Carol firing her weapon, there's no shells coming out. Yeah. They have these cars with like aluminum siding on the side to like act as shields. Right. And you see the bullets pinging off of them, but no holes. There's no hole. It's just
because they can't afford to.
I guess they couldn't. But again, in previous seasons, like the prison battle, whenever they fire at something, you see the
debris,
what do they call it? Not the what do they wear on their bodies?
Body armor?
No. Like when they shoot the squibs. Oh, yeah. You see the squibs on like the side on the vehicles, like actually punching holes in things, right?
Oh, right, yeah.
But in that season, it was just like let's just CGI bullet pings, but there's no actual damage to like this aluminum siding. It was ridiculous. This seems like it's a little more. I think they're being cautious with this. Like, let's see where this goes. It's Walking Dead, which is like
Well, pilots always get a little bit more money as well.
Exactly. So. Yeah. The CGI looks okay. Mm-hmm. They do a lot of night scenes, which makes sense because we got to go in there at nights to cover ourselves.
Cut your cost a
lot. Exactly. Well, in the story, it's because we have to go in there to sneak in. But you know what the story is, right? It's just let's just cut our budget. Yeah.
I'll say the cityscape. Degraded cityscape looks to me inspired by Last of Us, but not as good as Last of Us.
I was going to bring that up.
That's a good point. That's a perfect way to put it, Chad, because it feels like The Last of Us, but it's not. It's missing something for sure. Even Last of Us, some of the cityscapes were like, that looks there was some that doesn't look great. But there's only one major long shot of New York in the day. Yeah. And it's in the distance. Yeah. But most of the stuff in New York is like, they're just walking down the streets. Look pretty legit. They look like they kind of look like New York, but they're most likely filmed like probably in the WB lot or something.
True. So I also think it's an interesting space to have a show because you could travel from rooftop to rooftop. You don't have to be on the ground the whole time.
So that's interesting you say that because what they do in the show is how they get around from building to building is they have zip lines. Yeah. Which looks, I was like, at first, when I first saw it, I was like, what the hell is that? What was that, zipline? But that's how characters, survivors, I should say, in Manhattan move from building to building. They just drop on a zip line and they zip to the other.
I mean, if you ever go to Brooklyn, it's pretty accurate.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so I was like, okay, that's a cheap way of not having quick way of not having the characters go through. Oh, we got to go downstairs, go through the street. Right. And if you're an actual survivor in this kind of situation, it would make sense because it's a quick way to move from building to building. Yeah. It's very dangerous, obviously, and there's a part where I guess I didn't know this about the character. Maybe I missed it at some point, but Maggie apparently is afraid of heights. Oh. So I didn't know that because at one point she has to, and this goes back to the characters having to trust each other, she has to zip line across, and Negan is able to do it, and he throws a zip line back at her. And she hasn't able to, because she's afraid of heights, she doesn't do the whole kick off of the building as she should. So she doesn't get enough momentum.
So and she's just kind of in the middle.
She stops right before the ledge of the next building. And she's like, okay, I can do this. And she's kind of kind of sticking her leg out. Right. And because she doesn't trust Negan who's standing there is like, just what are you talking? Like, give me your hand. And she's like, no, I can do it. So she doesn't trust him enough and hasn't put her, put enough confidence in him that he's going to help her. So I think that it's got some potential.
I also find the Marshall character very interesting. He's kind of got a Judge Dredd vibe to him with how he's like judging executioners for a person he was interrogating earlier in the episode, and he was like aiding and abetting is guilty by death, and he like feeds him to zombies. It's like, oh shit.
Boy. So there's a community called New Babylon, and the Marshals are after Negan for being Negan, committing a crime. And there's two characters in the show which I thought in the pilot, the first two episodes, I should say, which I thought were going to be a bigger part of the show, but are pretty much killed off immediately.
I was like, wow.
Which one is the Marshal's partner, and the other one, well, two are the Marshal's partner. They're both the Marshal's partners. And I thought that they were going to be like, one is like a Marshal in training, and I thought they were going to be a bigger part of the show, but they get killed off pretty quick.
He looked like Negan at a point. I mean, not Negan, Rick, because of his hair was slicked back from the side profile. Right. From the trailer, I was like, is that fucking Rick?
Yeah, exactly. Like, no. Yeah. And so, I thought that I think the guy's name is Gaius Charles. He's Pearlie Armstrong, I think is a Marshal's name. And so, he did a pretty good job. And it looks like he's going to be the Marshal himself is going to be a bigger part of the show.
Okay.
He also
is like a main antagonist kind of thing.
Like Tommy Lee Jones.
Exactly. And he has...
I don't care.
There's a pretty touching part in the show itself because apparently he had a brother who lived in Manhattan, and he carries like his address in his pocket. Oh. And when he eventually makes it to Manhattan chasing Negan and Maggie, he makes it to his brother's apartment and finds out that his brother shot himself years ago. And so he has to kind of come to terms with that. So it was a pretty good backstory on that. And then we see Herschel, who was played by Logan Kim, who was being held hostage by the Crow. We didn't really. I didn't see that why he was holding Herschel hostage. It just seemed like he's trying to like turn him to his organization somehow, because he met up. The Crow met up with Maggie's group and said, you have to give me half of what you have, and I guess he takes Herschel as collateral to make sure that she does that. Yeah, delivers, I guess. So anyway, but that was that's the character's motivation for going to Manhattan.
Because without that, we don't have a plot.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Well, because the Crow is like, I guess he's known to torture people because you see him like threatening Herschel, but also there's a person that was escaping at a point, and it's all part of his like torture game, like where he's like, oh yeah, like he's escaping on a zip line, but then he like cuts the wire.
One of the guys he's torturing escapes, and then he's on the zip line. He cuts the zip line down to kind of mess with him. Yeah. So I think it has potential. There's supposed to be 2 more Walking Dead spinoffs, and Chad just rolled his eyes.
Is the kid one still going on? The one where it's just like the new world?
So that was just a one shot.
Oh, okay.
That's done. That's done. Which I only watched it because I didn't finish it. Only because I wanted to hear more information that maybe they had on Rick, but they don't. Anyhow, the last episode of Walking Dead, we had Rick come back. I thought it was not well done, but whatever. Rick is back. And now there's going to be a Rick and Michonne spinoff.
Was he like, where's Carl?
Carl? Well, Carl died in his arms.
I forgot. I forgot. So because in the comics, it's not that way, right?
Carl's still alive, yeah.
Yeah, Carl's still alive.
His daughter dies in the comic.
Yeah.
But in the TV show, his daughter's alive.
Yeah.
And Carl is passed. But that was only because the actor who played Carl wanted to leave the show.
Yeah,
he wanted to go to college.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Fear the Walking Dead's ending, right?
Fear the Walking Dead, I guess, is ending. I'm only on 3rd season. It's on season 8 right now. I'm barely on season 3. I think it's on 8.
Gosh.
7 or 8. Yeah. So it's still going. They're
mining this zombie verse as hard as they can.
So the problem with Fear the Walking Dead is I just didn't care about any of the characters except for the girl. The main, she's the main character now.
Yeah.
The rest of them I didn't care. I was like, I don't really. Her stepdad was all right.
That was the one where it started in L.A., right?
Yeah, exactly. It just it wasn't great. Like none of the
West Coast zombies. Babe.
None of the characters were like oh yeah, wow, there's an apocalypse.
Well, I heard
so anyway,
if you jump into season 2 or 3, it's really good because I do like the cowboy guy. I forget his name, but
that's in 4, I think.
4?
Yeah.
He's like the gunslinger type.
Yeah, because I'm on 3 now, and I don't remember seeing.
Oh, really?
That.
Okay,
yeah.
then so maybe
3. They're at like some dam in Mexico.
But I'm tempted to watch it because it seems like Lionel Luthor, the actor who plays Lionel Luthor from Smallville, is like a villain in one of those seasons, and I was like,
nice.
oh, he'd be fun to watch.
Yeah. Apparently, he's
So-
one of the big bads in
Yeah,
4 or 5, something like
Yeah,
that.
so I was like, oh,
Jonathan Glover, right?
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Great
So-
actor.
The Riddler
The
in the
voice of
Batman
the
the
Riddler,
Animated
yeah.
Series.
So apparently, there's
Super nice
a submarine that plays a big part in like 5 or 6 because there's nuclear. It's a beach nuclear submarine,
Yeah.
and so I guess they're competing over the nuclear weapons themselves, and of course the nuclear reactor that's on the submarine, so they can use it for power. But they did a one-shot TV show of that submarine and how it ended up being overtaken by. I watched that the other day, and it could have been really well done, but it was only 45 minutes, so they had to rush, and like I didn't care about any of the characters
Right.
again, and it's just like the buildup was just there was no buildup. It was just they have zombies, and so I think it could have been really well done. This like very claustrophobic, very tight.
Train to
Yeah.
Busan type of.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
Or Das Boot. with-
Right, DOS. Yeah, in that with zombies, that
Yeah.
it would have been great. I think if they did maybe like an hour and a half movie, would have been better. But whatever. But anyhow, so then there's the Rick and Michonne spinoff, and then they're doing I think they're doing a Daryl spinoff where he goes to
Oh
Paris.
yeah.
Daryl in Paris.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
talking to Paris.
Yeah.
Man,
So
these
I don't
croissants.
really. I'll probably watch
Wonderful.
I'll probably watch
Daryl.
those just because I want to see what. So I was saying earlier that the time jump is an issue in this, from terms of writing's perspective, because I feel that the Walking Dead writers wrote themselves into a corner here.
Yeah.
Because it's like, how are you going to explain away 6 years of this character's been gone? How?
Yeah.
There's only certain ways you can do it, and you got to really strict. He was in jail for 4 years, and then he was sent on a mission for 2 years. That's a long stretch of time to have him kind of just
The
sitting
zombies
around.
get smarter and they can use weapons and talk now. Brains. And then he just cocks a AUG assault rifle and is like, and he goes over and eats the riddled brain of whoever it'd be more interesting, or mutated zombies. Well, let's get creative here,
I guess so.
we'll get a multiverse of Walking Dead. Well,
There you go.
Rick will fall into a
Oh, there you
wormhole.
go, yeah.
And then he
He meets the comic Rick who has his hand cut off.
You can bring in the Shaun the Dead guy.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Speaking of multiverse, though, with Robert Kirkman's Invincible season 2,
Season 2's coming.
apparently
Yeah,
they're
that's
going to
right.
be doing like a multiverse type of thing, and I'm like, I'm kind of tired of the multiverse. It's kind of
Well,
been wearing
Too late, buddy.
Too late.
Sorry.
Yeah, too bad. You're gonna have to. Yeah,
You're gonna get
keep
used
going
to
through that.
multiverse
Yep.
until everyone's tired of it, and then everyone's gonna be like, "Pump the brakes! Pump the brakes! No more multiverses."
It's like, we get it, everything, everywhere, all at once did it, and they did it well. So let's leave
Well, I
it
feel
at
like
that.
Invincible is the show that kind of puts a mirror up to other superhero stuff.
Well, I never got to read the comic, so I don't know if they actually do that.
They did.
They did. Oh, they did. Okay. Well, okay. If it's in the comic, I don't mind. That's fine. But if they were forcing it just because all this other multiverse stuff is going on with other movies,
I feel
then-
it's going to be a not making fun of the multiverse stuff.
Okay.
But there's definitely some of that in the book.
Yeah.
So I
Do you think more Walking Dead actors will voice characters in the show, because you got Stephen Yeun as the main lead?
yeah,
It'd be interesting.
So
I'll take it.
That'd be fun to hear them in a different type of world.
Yeah, I've only watched the first episode of Invincible. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
I liked it. I just haven't had a chance to get back to it. But
It's really good.
It kind of reminds me of The Boys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same
in a
vibe.
way. Yeah.
A little more higher stakes though
Yeah.
in Invincible, though, with the power levels
Mhm.
of people.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
no, it's still fun.
Yeah. Speaking of animation, though, I did want to mention coming out this Friday on Netflix is Nimona. We just watched the trailer. I really dig the animation style. It's got this really cool, like sci-fi fantasy, very like saga kind of look.
Yeah.
Where it's this kind of like it's a fairy tale world, but done in a kind of post-apocalyptic cyberpunk future.
Right.
And it's it's based on a graphic novel by N.D. Stevenson, and which is a really good book and a good read. And it's kind of like never judge a book by its cover kind of story of a young girl shapeshifter and a knight who team up to try and clear his name, and she's probably the monster he was sent to kill at the start of it. So it's a fun team up movie, and
Sounds fun.
The animation looks gorgeous. I think it's got a great style to it. This kind of like 2D, 3D thing that it's very like the new Puss in Boots.
There's a lot of personality to it.
A lot of personality. Yeah, the animation looks great. So check it out.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, we can watch it and then we'll
talk about it on future episodes.
Yeah, sounds good. That's your assignment, Watson.
Yeah, I'll do it.
I'll watch it too. All right.
I mean, I have to find a Netflix account from someone else that won't get shut down because they're going after people left and right.
I mean, you could just turn on the.
Do you not have one?
Currently, no.
Oh,
I mean, you could.
I kind of, we've been talking about this, jumping around with our
streaming
services
apps
and
whatnot.
Yeah, I mean,
I've got a lot of them.
I'm done with Barry, so
I mean, I think you could find another Arabic version of.
Listen, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't believe in stealing.
I hope you believe in ghost story. I mean, I've screwed up the quote. What? Pirates of the Caribbean is like I hope you believe in ghost stories because you're in one. And it's like pirate and pirating something. And then, okay.
I don't know what you're talking about. We don't pirate anything.
No, we don't pirate anything.
Nope. We all work for the industry.
I watch the streaming apps and hail to all of them,
Y'all work for the industry, not me. Yes. I wish I could.
There will be one in the end of the streaming wars, and it'll be Taco Bell.
It will be.
Universal, give me Monster Squad and Exo Squad, and I'll win the streaming war for you. Let me be the showrunners for the new shows, and I'll win the streaming war for you.
Let me just make the most absurd show humanly possible. And I'll win.
That exists already. It's called Willow.
Absurd show. No. But I would, yeah. I would want to make some crazy films and shows. I'm not gonna say more because I've already given away so much.
Yeah, exactly. Don't get rid of gold, baby.
That's right.
Gold.
Okay, yeah. I mean, if you guys have anything else, we had some new Black Mirror episodes that just dropped on Netflix.
Oh yeah, season 6 came out on Netflix. It's 5 episodes long, so not too bad.
How many years has it been since the previous season?
It's been
2015.
Pandemic kind of really stopped the stuff. And the last season was only 3 episodes.
Yeah,
it was the Striking Vipers one, which is really good.
Yeah,
I forgot the other 2 titles, but this season's really cool.
Wasn't that the one where they torture the guy like perpetually, like his avatar? You remember that? It's like, was that one of them? I can't remember the name of the episode. He's like a killer, and they like perpetually put
him around in a
He's like in the electric chair, and but it's like his it's like his conscience.
Yeah,
consciousness is in the machine.
There's a lot of episodes of we're all phones kind of episodes, like there's like the dating one where
that one was so good, dude.
They're like speed dating in a phone kind of thing.
Yeah, that was so good.
But this new season is really good. I think they definitely kind of took a lot of chances this season. They have this straight up like everyone's a cell phone episode. Like the first episode is called Joan is a terrible person or something like that, and it's very much it kind of makes fun of streaming services. It goes after Netflix and companies that run things off algorithms, and it's a lot of fun. It's about a lady who turns on their version of Netflix on the show and sees a show that's basically her life, but like a more terrible version of her. And you find out that she's actually, when she signed the agreement they can actually take like her tweets and everything like that and build a show.
I saw the trailer of this,
and it's great. It's got
Selma Hayek, isn't it?
Selma Hayek playing the terrible version of Anne Murphy is the main person. And, it's just ridiculous. It's very much of like kind of talking about the industry. Okay. There's a really good episode with Aaron Paul, which is kind of a space. I don't want to give too much away because it's a really good space episode, which kind of deals with VR, out-of-body stuff. So that's good. Space, and like, what is reality? Is he really in space, or is he really in this other world kind of thing.
He's in Westworld.
Yeah, exactly. It's very Westworldy.
Yeah.
But they do have 2 really good horror episodes this season.
Okay.
There's one, the last one, which is called like Demon 79. And the one prior to that are something they're dubbing Red Mirror now, which is kind of like, it seems like they're doing a horror offshoot.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
And like a straight up like very old school horror stories.
No, but I thought they were all centered around technology, though.
I think they're trying to get away from that.
Oh, okay.
Because I feel like everyone knows the twist now. When you watch a Black Mirror,
Right.
you're like, okay, so what's the technology that's gone awry
Right.
here? You know?
So now they're doing more like a Twilight Zone kind of thing?
Yes, absolutely. And the last episode, the Demon 79 is great. It's a woman who captures a demon who basically makes a deal with her to be like, hey, like, I'm going to destroy the world unless you kill these random people for me. You know, it's very Twilight Zone. It feels very like kind of old school. So I'd say check it out.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I definitely will. Because Black Mirror is always, I've never
spoil too much.
No, it's always been. I've enjoyed the show a lot. The only, I think it's only it's only faltered a couple times. Like when, do you remember that? What was that episode where they had, you could hook up that device to anybody's like head, and you could see what they saw. Like you could pull back like the visuals, the memories.
Yeah.
And like she murders, like this woman, like this mother in like Norway or some shit, or like Iceland, keeps like murdering people because they're gonna discover like her secret. But then like eventually the last person she murders somebody, but like the pet hamster witnesses it, and they're able to get. I was like, get the hell out of here, dude. That's from a pet hamster. I don't think so, dude. And they're able to pull up like the hamster's memories.
Well, I mean,
to see
and that has a lot to do. That episode has a lot to do with like closed circuit television, and everyone's watching it. Everyone's got a camera on their phone.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and that's the thing is like I think after a while the episodes do start getting very repetitive.
Yeah.
But then there's a lot of like standalone episodes that are really good.
Yeah.
Like the SSS. Cassilia?
The Castillo? Callisto? Something like that?
Yeah, that's a great episode.
That's a great episode. Yeah, it's so good.
Where they're all trapped in the video game, basically.
Yeah. And then, of course, San Junipero.
Yes.
Wow, what a great episode that is. Yeah.
Exactly. But I feel like this new season definitely goes in different directions.
Yeah.
And the stories are varied enough where you're not feeling like, okay, what's the technology thing here?
That's gone wrong.
You know?
Okay, well, good. Because, I like the horror aspect from a technology standpoint. I always like that because I appreciate they weren't doing supernatural stuff, but now it looks like they are, and that's fine. It's because the writing's strong enough. I think it'll be able to stand on its own.
Yeah, and I think they just want to try and see where this goes and branch out a little bit.
That's
more.
cool. That's good.
You know, a good BM is always a surprise BM. You know what I mean?
And on that note,
thank you for listening once again to Enter the Nerdom. Please follow us on Instagram and Twitter and like, subscribe.
Yeah, don't forget to rate and review.
Email us if you want. Anything else you guys want to add? No? All right.
it.
Well,
Send a telegram or
a telegram.
Speaking of technology gone awry, Telegram.
You can page us at... No.
Send us a fax.
Yeah, exactly.
Send us a fax at 555-7542.
I got one. It just says, you're fired.
No.
Well, that's it. Enter the Nerdom. Exit the BM. I don't know. I mean, we already did the BM joke, so that doesn't work. Yeah, I don't know. I think we're gonna be. This is a stale ending. That's a very stale one that I just did. Oh no, wait! I got one. Here we go. Oh, we're gonna rewind. Enter the Nerdom. Exit the two bombs. The two bomb skis.
We're going back to this. Okay.
that fresh material we had earlier.
Yeah, that fresh top of the dome. Nothing
So
beats
good.
nothing beats improv on the mic, on the hot mic. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.